Hello, you are listening to the 64th episode of the Funfiltered podcast. I'm Jordan, that's Sam.
Hi.
And here's what's coming up on today's episode. We talk about the first trailer for the upcoming Super Mario Bros. Movie.
I round up some TV, I corral it for you, and I fucking review it.
In the vein of Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker, we spit on the corpse of Doctor Who.
We sing the praises in a vague and all-encompassing fashion of Better Call Saul.
We review Black Adam.
And the Banshees of Inisherin. Oh, look at that, he did look like a normal person.
That was me with truly nothing up my sleeve.
Right, yeah, oh yeah. No,
Yeah.
I got that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was truly nothing.
Yeah.
Though, I don't know why you didn't say what you told me just before we started recording.
Oh no, because
How did that not come into it?
we weren't recording at the time.
No, but how does that not come up?
Okay, so today is actually a very special episode, audience, because this is the 64th episode, and I said to Sam before we started recording, 64 is my favourite number, and I was ruthlessly interrogated.
I don't care that it's your favourite number. I just want to know why it's your favourite number.
And I told you.
I don't disagree. I don't have a favourite number.
Okay.
So it's not like, no, mate, it's 73. You're an idiot. That's not what I'm doing. I just want to know, it's odd for someone to have a favourite number.
Yeah.
In any way. I just want to know why it's your favourite number.
All I know is when I was 11, I think it was, I started a YouTube channel called The Ultimate Shadow 64, and I picked Ultimate, because at the time that was my favourite word.
Okay.
Shadow, because that was like my favourite Sonic character,
Yeah.
and the number 64, because not only was I under the impression...
The three pillars of language. Words, numbers,
and character.
and Sonic character.
Not only was I under the impression that you needed because everybody had numbers in their YouTube name.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, you need one. That's just how it
Yes.
works. But like I was thinking of numbers. I was like, oh, 64. I'm drawn to that.
Right.
I guess that's my favourite number.
But-
So I put it in the name. And since then I haven't
Did you look at a list, like a Rorschach test?
like a list
Did you
of
look at a list of
numbers?
numbers and you just like, you were drawn to one? It was like, it was your calling?
No, I
Your
was just
call
like,
to
right,
64?
what numbers do I know? 5,
Yeah.
20, 64.
You start running out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why 64? Right. Is it the sound of the phonology of the word?
Well, that's something that I put to you just now, and you
Yeah.
went, but most numbers sound the same.
Not sound the same. You kind of went, is it because it goes 64? 64. Well, 65. 65. I mean, it's
Yeah.
the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's not because there are 64 squares on a chessboard.
No, I've never been one for chess.
No, me neither. I think it's 64. I don't even know. I think it's 8 by 8, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So
there
it's 8 squared.
Yeah.
And there's the Beatles song When I'm 64.
Yeah, and I'm not
None of those are
an avid
factor
listener
in.
of the Beatles.
No. So it's just
Although they did do a song about the Eggman, didn't they? I am the walrus, I am the Eggman, or whatever
They did,
it was.
yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe something is slipping through there. What's it called? Yeah, numerology. Maybe all that bullshit has some has
What
some weight to it.
numerology?
Numerology.
What's
Yeah.
this?
Oh God. Ugh, Do you know
Okay, if I don't know, but if it's going to take too long, that's fine.
No, it doesn't. Like, I don't know anything about it. Numerology it's the kind of, I guess, yeah, I'd be slow to say the study, but it's the kind of branch of thought that numbers have like a cosmic value or implication.
Right.
So, like the film The Number 23, you've seen 23 everywhere. What's 23
Okay.
mean? Numerology.
42? Does that feed into it?
No, I think that's a joke.
All right.
That's in. Do you know where that's from? Right, Hitchhiker's Guide.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the meaning of life.
Yeah,
is 42.
the answer is 42, yeah.
It's just like a what?
Yeah.
No, numerology is like, oh, it's all connected. Like conspiracy theorists and stuff tend to be into. It kind of overlaps with cosmology,
Right.
and horoscopes, all that bullshit.
Okay.
Yeah, like when I kept seeing 1, 2, 3. Like someone would go, oh, there's something like in the universe.
Right.
There's not.
As indeed you did.
Yeah, but as a joke, I don't actually think I'm being like it's communicating with me. So it's just your favourite number.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, there felt like there was judgment in that.
No, there's
In that, okay. It's like, fine, sure. All right, then.
There's no judgment. I mean, my I don't have a YouTube handle, but some of my social media handles are Mr. Reese of the Universe. Get it?
Yeah.
So I'm not judging too harshly.
Okay.
Should we just get started?
But you are judging a little bit.
A little bit.
Okay.
Just not too harshly.
Is this just base level Sam judging, or is this judging above that? Like, there is judgment more than there would typically be.
As with you, as it tends to be with you, it's not that I'm judging the thing itself, but the absence of any logic for the thing.
Right, okay.
It's like, I don't care that you have a particular fondness for corduroy, but why? And then you'll just go, oh, I do.
Right.
I just want to... No, I don't care about the corduroy. I don't care, I don't care that Scott Pilgrim's your favourite film. But tell me why. Now, you could with that. Colours are intuitive. I don't think anyone can rationally... You could write a paper about why purple's your favourite colour.
But numbers, that's where we draw the line, is it?
Kind of, yeah, because why? Why would you have any special affinity for a number beyond it being like a birthday or something like that? Because 64 is just nothing.
Don't say that. It's my favourite number.
Nothing. It's nothing. So welcome to episode 64.
Yeah, there you go.
We'll just dive in now, shall we?
Okay, alright.
Let's talk about the Mario trailer.
It is, I'll give it that. It's like infectious, isn't it? You have to do the Mario jingle.
Yeah. It's quite a good trailer.
Yeah, okay. So, Illumination Animation and Nintendo, I think they were both equally credited above the title of the film.
Right.
So this is a proper co-production.
What does that mean, though? Because obviously, Nintendo, do they have a cinematic division?
No. I don't. They might have a dedicated one now.
Okay.
Or it might just be a case of we were so, we stood over the shoulders of every single person who worked on this to make sure that they didn't fuck it up.
Do they have a production company that has produced the film, or are they just the money people, and it's a Nintendo property?
I think it's that.
So therefore it's Nintendo Presents.
Yes, I think it's one of those. Because I don't think Sega have a dedicated film division.
Right.
But their logo appears in front of all the Sonic stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so Illumination Animation, I think, generally speaking, they have very good first trailers in general.
So what other films have Illumination done?
They've done The Secret Life of Pets, which is a great first trailer because it's basically what ended up being just the cold open for that film.
Right.
Where it's everyone's owner leaving and then it's the pets just kind of doing a little thing, it's like a sketch almost. It's like the person leaves and then the bird puts on the TV.
Right.
And flies towards a fan, and the TV is fighter planes. So it's he's a fighter plane.
I see.
Going through
Okay.
Yeah, the dog, the cat is doing maths or whatever it is.
It's like Toy Story, what they do when the
Well, that's the thing. The Secret Life of Pets ended up being a Toy Story clone. It was pretty much beat for beat Toy Story.
Okay.
But that initial trailer, there were no allusions to what the film was as a whole. It was just the pets being quirky.
Yes.
And it was genuinely I want to know more about that.
Yeah, I like interesting trailers.
Yeah.
Unique trailers like that, yeah.
Yeah. Despicable Me, I felt like that had a pretty good first trailer. I don't know how much of the film it revealed, but that was a pretty good first trailer. The Grinch had a good first trailer, I think. The Lorax, given how crap that ended up being.
Well, most of the films you've listed haven't done very well.
Well, that's the thing. It's Illumination Animation.
Yeah.
They're not they're the moneymakers of the industry, but they're not the big guys, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they're not the quality purveyors.
No, exactly. When it was sort of announced that Illumination had been chosen to do it, it felt like Nintendo was sort of undershooting, almost. It was
Sorry, because I just said quality purveyor, and I now feel like a brilliant thing just popped into my head.
Go on.
Marvel are quantity surveyors.
Yes.
And then, you got the Villeneuves that are quality purveyors.
Oh, okay.
That's got to be a thing. Quantity surveyor, quality purveyor.
Is that a impromptu lexicon?
Because I haven't invented the terms, but, how has no one done that? Carry on.
Well, you heard it here first. When you're citing this for all your university articles, you can put Funfiltered episode 64 in the bibliography.
What's the Oxford referencing thing for a podcast?
There is a thing, isn't there?
Is there?
Yeah. It's not you do it differently from books. I think you put the timestamps.
Oh, right, okay.
I'm not sure. It's ages since I was...
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, yes. It felt like they were undershooting. I don't know if teaming with Disney or Pixar would have been the correct call either. Maybe DreamWorks. Maybe it felt DreamWorks and Nintendo would be a good pairing. And just in terms of how big they are in their respective industries.
DreamWorks maybe, but do you think that because Nintendo are going to want to be the big name on the marquee?
Yeah.
So that you can't have Pixar and Nintendo because right, which one is it?
Yeah.
Is it a Pixar movie? Is it a Nintendo movie?
Yeah.
So most people just don't know Illumination.
And I'm wondering if that was the thinking behind the decision. Let's get a studio that can make animated films, and they make animated films that make money.
That have no identity.
That we can control.
Yeah.
Crucially, because this does not look like an Illumination film.
No,
the animation is pretty good.
It looks good.
Yeah, it's far and above what they've done in the past. I've always kind of liked Illumination's animation, but I think they're like their actual character designs and their coloring and everything. It's a bit like not cheap, but you can tell that like they don't have that Pixar level of quality.
Yes.
Even if their animation is at times quite dynamic, the actual characters can be a bit bland to look at. This is not the case with the Mario trailer.
No. But I do also worry, because you got the money shot at the end of the landscape.
Yes.
Have they just put the best stuff in the trailer? And it doesn't... The rest of it's just kind of...
I mean, it might be telling that the majority of the trailer is Bowser and not Mario.
Well, it reminds me of the Watch Dogs playthrough at E3, where it looked great. And then it was just shit. Like, the driving and all that. It might be a case that, like, okay, we're going to put all our money into, like, the promo.
Yes.
And the actual film. Like, even the existing film won't have that money shot. You know?
I don't know.
That's what I worry about.
Yeah. I don't know if it will be as extreme as that. I don't know whether they'll go full Ubisoft and just outright...
Yeah, lie.
But yeah, from that trailer, I can already tell Bowser's going to be the best thing about it.
Yeah.
And Mario's going to be... Well, Chris Pratt's performance is going to be the weakest thing about it, I would say.
Yes.
Because I don't really know what he's doing, Sam.
We don't get much of the voice, do we?
No. And I'm wondering if that was the... I get, like, wanting to keep stuff back, because Luigi's only shown at the very end, and we don't really hear him.
No.
But we get enough of Chris Pratt to know that he's doing the normal Chris Pratt voice, but with a weird inflection.
A very weird inflection.
It's like he's gesturing towards doing an accent, but not actually doing one.
Well, it sounds like anybody in the world doing a half-assed Mario accent. It's not... He's not going for the real Italian.
No.
It's just like, he's a Mario.
It's exactly what it's like.
It's just that.
Yeah.
What's he say in the trailer?
Mushroom Kingdom, here I come. It's really weird the way he kind of...
Well, what is this place?
Oh, yeah.
What
is this?
That's what it is.
This place?
But it is that. Like the is what is this place?
Yeah.
It's just like it's so muted, and I don't know.
Maybe it was because they didn't want him to be like stereotypically.
Yeah, you can't do that.
No,
and it would be weird.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Like we said, do the Bob Hoskins thing then. Do like Italian American,
which would be funny. Yeah. Hey, where am I? Where is this?
And he looks like an Italian American plumber. He does. What is this fucking place? These fucking mushrooms.
Yeah. Bowser shows up. What the fuck is this?
I'm gonna kick that fucking Bowser's ass. But no, it's a funny trailer.
Yes, the penguins make it absolutely, and I think that's all we're getting of the penguins. Unfortunately,
probably. Yeah, that's like probably the opening to the film.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, that's probably what they do. Yeah. In hindsight, I don't know whether it's like a good thing or a bad thing, because I think a lot of their trailers they sort of pluck the beginning of the film and just kind of put it in the trailer.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether that's just pure laziness, which is like, just first 2 minutes copy and paste, or whether it is clever because they're not doing over-edited, deliberately cryptic.
Well, I think it's good in this case because the sense I get is that's probably going to be the opening scene. So you get the threat of Bowser, and he gets the thing that he wants. Yeah, and then also that feeds into when he goes, "Who is going to stop me?" Yeah. In the film, it's going to cut to Mario's alarm clock going. But obviously in the trailer, they use it as just like him entering the Mushroom Kingdom. Yes. They just put a little bit from like the end, the start of Act 2. You know. So I think it worked nicely. But it probably is the opening scene. Yeah, but Jack Black is strange, isn't he? He has all these like layers on his voice.
What's strange about it is the first line that he says when he goes, "Open the gate." Yeah, he doesn't sound like Jack Black, but I really like that voice on Bowser. Yeah. And then the rest of the trailer, he's just Jack Black.
Yeah. Who's gonna stop me?
Yeah. Which is also fine, I guess, because it's not like I'm just thinking. I am thinking of Jack Black.
Yes,
but yeah, that beginning. I don't know whether that open the gate, whether that will be what his voice will sound like and they just haven't finished the audio mixing, or whether that's just a weird anomaly in the film. But that was quite nice. I like that.
Yeah, I think it'll be consistent. I think it'll be like the Jack Black, you'll tell it's him, but with these like I said, these layers and these filters on his voice.
Because that's the other thing. In the more comedic moments, again, it's fine. When Jack Black's, you have the kind of versatility in his voice by not like burying him under layers and layers of whatever. but also it feels a bit weak for Bowser.
Yeah.
Like, Bowser looks like he should have, like, a deep...
booming.
Yeah, like, modulated voice.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
Yeah, it's
Everything
fine.
we've seen so far is fine.
Fine.
I'm feeling generally positive towards
Well,
it.
I just think the cast in general is slightly worrying. Like, Chris Pratt, he's okay.
Yeah.
But he is neither the harbinger for a film being good or bad. He's a neutral value.
Yeah.
He's been in mostly bad films, but he's been in some good films.
Yeah.
He's fine. It's more Charlie Day. He's Luigi, right?
He is Luigi.
Yeah.
And the thing that I'm a bit worried about is Luigi's always the likable one. Because he's the one that's like... Mario is just kind of this broad caricature.
Okay.
Like, he's energetic and he's always positive. But other than that, he doesn't really have a character.
Okay.
He is just the broadest possible vessel for the audience. Whereas Luigi... Depending on, like, what kind of game he's in, he's always the one that's given character.
Right.
So he's always the really scared one, or he's always the really, like, secretly the most powerful being in the universe. Like, he's one of those characters where they have fun with Luigi.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm worried, because I don't like Charlie Day, you don't like Charlie Day,
No,
it's not going to be fun watching Luigi.
No.
But voice alone, it's not a bad casting choice. He's going to hit the correct register for Luigi, I think.
What does Luigi sound like?
Kind of like Mario, but more nasally.
Okay.
So if Mario's kind of like that.
Yeah. Is it me? Mario?
Mario.
Yeah.
Luigi's kind of like that.
Oh, okay.
It's a bit more...
Okay.
Yeah.
Bit more neurotic.
A little bit, yeah. Oh, that's
Get
Luigi.
Woody Allen playing Luigi. Yeah.
I mean, Anya Taylor-Joy, I don't think you need a specific voice for Peach.
No.
That'll be fine.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. I'm not looking
Oh,
forward
is that
to...
that's the thing, is it?
Because I know I'm going to be subject to Donkey Kong doing the Seth Rogen laugh. And I think I've heard enough of the Seth Rogen laugh.
God. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, that is but a taste of our fury.
Yeah, that bit, that moment of the film will be good. They can't spoil that moment for me.
Do you yield?
Yeah, if the rest of the writing is like on par with that, where it's just like goofy, but not to its detriment, then this will be a good film. I'm hoping that like it can carry the quality suggested in the trailer.
Yeah. Oh, it looked good.
Yeah,
and it was funny.
And it was like, just speaking personally now, because obviously I've complained enough about the Sonic films.
Yes.
But this really does feel like a film that is not like rigidly sticking to the source material.
Yeah.
But it's it's respectful of the source material.
Yeah.
And it understands the source material. Mm-hmm. So even though I think this iteration of Bowser is different from the type of Bowser we usually get, he's usually just a menace.
Right.
I've never really seen him in the games that have more character, like the Paper Mario RPGs and everything.
Okay.
But just the standard Bowser, he is just this menacing presence.
I don't know anything about like the characters. Of Mario. Like I know who the characters are, but
they
I don't
are
know.
so like archetypal.
2D.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, they've kind of injected personality into them without completely changing, or so it seems.
Yes.
Without completely changing what that character is. And even if Nintendo have kept an iron fist around Illumination, it's clearly working for them.
Yeah. You know, it looks good.
Yeah.
It looks promising. But we'll see.
We will see.
Yeah, we'll wait for the theatrical trailer.
Okay.
I'll do my quick TV roundup then.
Okay.
Of shows that I have watched and now finished. So the first one is Bad Sisters.
Okay.
Which I think I've mentioned on the podcast.
I'm sure you have.
I said I would review it. It's basically about there are 5 sisters, grown-up women, and one of them is married to an utter cunt.
Right.
He's abusive, but in less obvious, more insidious ways. Like, he doesn't hit her. He's just he's just a prick. He's like an utter prick.
Okay.
Incredibly unlikable, like demeaning, controlling. And, the more it goes on, you kind of peel back how horrible and horrific he is.
Right.
But yeah, so it's a show from Sharon Horgan, who I really like. She did things like Catastrophe. And I have to tell you, every time I bring her up, she's the Irish one in Game Night.
Right, okay.
It's that woman.
That woman, okay.
Yeah, in America, she pops up. She's in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent as well.
Yeah.
Over here, she's like a TV auteur.
Okay.
She's had like 8 different shows.
Right.
It's an adaptation of, I think, a Scandi show.
Okay.
But yeah, so it's set in Ireland. And
how Irish is it?
Not that Irish.
Okay.
Not that Irish. It's kind of more... It's not set in, like, the city, but it's kind of a more metropolitan, worldly Irish people of the 21st century. It's not like, you know, it's not the Banshees of Inisherin, which we will get to.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so it's about these sisters, and we know at the start of the show that the abusive husband is dead.
Right.
And we know very soon after that the four sisters planned to kill him. Okay. And then the show is kind of playing with your expectations of who did it, getting every sister on board with why they would want to do it, exploring the familial connections. It's just really good and really clever and nicely written. Sharon Horgan's really good in it. Sarah Green is a standout. Eve Hewson's a standout. Is it Klaus Bang or Klaus Bang? Whatever, the guy, the bad guy in The Northman who played Dracula.
Oh, right, okay.
He's the cunt.
Yeah.
But it's believable malevolence. Like, you just know that, he's... You know, you just want to, like, strangle him. Yeah, he's subtly, sometimes not so subtly, undermining. Like, looking through a phone... And he calls her Mammy, or you know, like the Irish thing, like, Mammy. He calls his wife Mammy, which all the sisters hate, like, when he fucking stopped calling her. The men in it are the most boring characters, but it's not as a result of conscious design. Okay. Because everybody's interesting in it. Right. So it's not one of those, like, fuck the men, we'll underwrite the men. Okay. Everyone's good, but they just happen to be the least interesting characters. Okay. I would say it's the TV ensemble of the year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It ends relatively predictably. Like, you know, like the Hateful Eight. It's like, you know, going in, well, there's not going to be just 8. Yeah. You know, there's going to be a twist. There's something like that. Where it's like, I could have guessed that was coming. Right. But it works well. Okay. So it's fine. And I don't know whether we know we'll be back for a second season yet, but if that's it, it worked well. So I highly recommend it.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably my second favourite TV thing of the year. Okay. I think you'd like it a lot. And the theme song is a cover of Who by Fire by Leonard Cohen. Oh, right. Which is one of my favourite songs. You know that song, right? Yeah. So give it a watch.
Even if I didn't, I'm sure you would play it for me in its entirety as soon as we stop recording.
Yeah. But it works nicely, because obviously the song is about just the mortality. And then because we don't know who killed him or why, you know, Who by Fire, Who by... Oh, right, okay. It works really nicely. Yeah. Really good opening
It's almost like it's well written.
Almost. Really good opening title sequence as well, which you would really like, because you're into a good opening title sequence.
Love a good opening title sequence.
So, the second...
Halt and Catch Fire.
Yeah, which you haven't even seen.
I haven't even seen, but it's one of my favourite title sequences.
I find that really interesting, because it's not one that I would ever, like, highlight as a... Oh, it's a great title sequence.
I think it's just because, like, there's enough shows now that there are, like, tropey title sequences. Yeah. And Halt and Catch Fire doesn't have a tropey title sequence.
No. Okay. Fair enough.
It doesn't feel like generic Netflix... Here's like the silhouette of a character being panned around. Yeah. And then just like, or like From, where it's just like abstract imagery of like the location that the show takes place in. Yeah. It's I don't know if it's appropriate to the show, the one Halt and Catch Fire has. Yeah. But it's eye-catching because it's like none of that.
Well, Halt and Catch Fire, because it's got kind of that beat-boppy techno music to it.
Also, it's got really good music, which helps it.
Yeah, well, Halt and Catch Fire is basically Mad Men for the 80s gaming industry. Right. The 70s and 80s, the birth of gaming. Yeah. You'd really like it, you should watch it.
Okay.
But, okay, so we're not going to dive into a massive conversation about it, but what's the best opening title sequence then?
Oh, Jesus. Well, you've opened the can of worms
I didn't think I'd be opening it.
It's like, I've opened the can of worms, but we're just going to look at them.
Yeah.
We're not going to dive in, we're just going to look at the top worms.
Yeah.
And just... call it a day.
Surface worms are my only interest.
Right. Well, Halt and Catch Fire is pretty good. Dexter is pretty good, like length and all.
Yeah.
Like it could be shorter, but I'll take it as it is.
True Blood is really good.
I think True Detective started
the first season.
Well, I mean, the first season is very, very good, and that is a eye-catching title sequence. But I think that started a tropey title sequence trend.
It did.
But being the first one of its kind. Yeah. Or the first prominent one of its kind. It was a good one. Yeah. Obviously, Doctor Who has had some fantastic ones. Mm-hmm. There's loads. I could just name you.
But what's the best?
I don't know. Most iconic? Is that what you're asking me?
Not most iconic, because that's just, I don't know. That's
I need to narrow it down.
That's close to being empirical. Yeah. No, best in execution, idea, what it says about the show.
I couldn't possibly give you an answer at this time.
Okay, well...
There's just too many shows. I don't know what to,
Well, I think Dexter's a contender.
Yeah, absolutely, Dexter is a contender.
For best ever. And The Sopranos. Not because it's, like, a particularly eye-catching opening, But the idea of it, if you're like actually paying attention, of him driving from Manhattan back into New Jersey, it's like they're not the New York mob. They're the New Jersey mob.
Yeah. It's a good tone setter as well, or mood setter, I should say.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
Got yourself a gun. Okay, we'll drop that then.
Yeah.
I'll do my second TV thing.
Okay.
Which is House of the Dragon and kind of Lord of the Rings.
Oh, right, okay. The big two.
The big two. So they arrived around the same time. They offer a kind of a good side-by-side. So the Lord of the Rings of Power.
Yes.
It's Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
It's effects heavy. It's more expensive looking than House of the Dragon, and almost certainly is more expensive. I think it's like the most expensive TV show ever made.
Yeah, that was like one of the first things we knew about it. It was going to be the most expensive thing that anything had been ever.
Yeah. I just find it hard to care about Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Like House of the Dragon is concerned with palace politics and intrigue and heredity, whereas Lord of the Rings is concerned with world building and evil.
I cheered because the people that I work with, the people that I play D&D with,
Yeah, sure.
they're big. They're big into all that.
No.
I've already had the conversation with them. The I don't like fantasy. Well, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yes.
Conversation. Well, I'm just trying to be friendly. I don't know.
Yeah. Did you say I just want friends?
I tried to couch it in like a couple of layers of, so it didn't come across as so desperate. But like that from them, through them, I've heard like a couple of things about it. And so that's what I mean by saying like from what I've heard.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been keeping up with like just general conversation of it. But yeah, like there was a criticism saying it doesn't feel very Tolkien. Writing.
Well, it's ethnically diverse.
Okay.
Which the Lord of the Rings film series is not.
Okay.
Generally speaking, because trolls or like they're gonna look the same.
Yeah.
Or have the same, like in Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon, there are different ethnicities, but they represent different realms and different.
Right.
It kind of works like
Okay.
because like how Game of Thrones, it's basically medieval British. That's the sensibility of it.
Yeah.
So everyone's white.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. Lord of the Rings, like you've got elves that are black, and
Yeah.
it's just a bit weird. Like it's clearly a product of the 2020s and not of any other time.
Without hearing the argument that it was countering,
Yeah,
I've heard the counter argument. The amount of world building that's in this show is very typical of Tolkien.
there's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff. Yeah. Well, it's visual sensibility bears no relationship to the film series. They don't look anything alike.
Okay. To its detriment or benefit.
Well, here's the thing. I stopped watching after 4 episodes.
Okay.
So I can't even review the whole season.
Right.
Because I just can't give a shit about. I try so hard to care about Lord of the Rings, and I can't. It's just dull, just so boring.
Okay.
And I know fantasy isn't my thing either. Like fantasy has to really try hard. But I just find it so dull, and it just looked plain. And yes, it looked expensive. Like well done, it did look expensive. And Moravith Clark is very attractive in it.
She is.
But that's all it's got going for it, and that's
Okay.
not enough for me.
You don't think it was worth having Lord of the Rings of Power, just so we could see Morvith Clark in her various outfits?
I mean, yeah,
that we see in
but
this
we
show?
don't have to see any more of it now. Like, that's it. We don't
Yeah.
have to have a season 2.
Yeah.
That's always baffled me. Like when adults watch things like, oh, I find that actress really hot, so I'll watch her in this. Do you know there's porn? It doesn't matter how attractive they are. You can watch attractive people actually having sex.
But that's the allure, is that I can't find stuff of her naked.
Oh, come on. Don't pretend as though there's any self-restraint in 2022. Everything, I want a thing, oh, I'll order it. I want a taxi, oh, it's on my phone.
Yeah.
There's no... Yeah, I don't think there's any of that. But so it's always kind of baffled me when people say, oh, she's really hot, we should go see that. Just porn.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not encouraging watching porn, incidentally. It confuses me that people have that mindset.
Right.
So House of the Dragon, it's better.
Okay. Is that saying much?
No, it's not saying much, but it's better to the point of being a pretty good show.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's trafficking in the same ideas of Game of Thrones, but of course it is. It's as nasty as its predecessor, especially in the final episode. There's child murder. It's keeping things relatively small and simple. Like the scope is a lot smaller than Game of Thrones. Rhys Ifans is very good in it. He's a standout. It's quaint compared to Game of Thrones, which is by design, no doubt. But it nevertheless does make it feel lesser.
Okay.
Better Call Saul, which we'll get to,
Yeah.
it had different stakes than Breaking Bad, but it never felt smaller.
No.
They reused the Game of Thrones theme song.
Oh.
I get the whole idea of not fixing it if it ain't broke, but that I found that really weird.
Well,
the show should have its own identity.
Well, that was one of our complaints about Bly Manor, wasn't it? Is that the soundtrack frequently reused songs from Hill House, which just invited comparisons to Hill House.
And like occasional music cues that's fine. It's because it's the same DNA or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, like
But
if House Stark, I don't know, because I haven't watched any of the Game of Thrones stuff, but if House Stark had its own, like, iconic
or
fanfare.
Targaryen, yes, that's fine. But no, it is the exact different opening credits, the same idea.
That doesn't help.
It's the same idea
Yeah.
as well, but even that's smaller because it covers less territory.
Yeah.
So it's not even, the continent moving thing of Game
It's just
of
a
Thrones.
town, is it?
It's really small.
There's the bakery, there's the little the church.
There's the apothecary.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but it's the exact same, and it's just like, it's them saying, yes, we are firmly wedded to our predecessor.
Right.
And like I said, it's a great theme song. Like, I get they don't want to throw it out. But it's also just like, have some, I don't know, maybe the network insisted on it. Like, no, fuck it, if it's Game of Thrones, people are going to hear that.
Yeah.
We're going to come in and watch it.
Yeah.
But it feels like low self-esteem on the part of the showrunners. Like, you get to do your own Game of Thrones now.
Yeah.
And you get to carve out your own identity and place in the universe. Like, why would you want to just recycle what someone else has done? Because, yes, it will invite comparisons, and it's not going to be as good as Game of Thrones.
No.
So, I don't know, I found that really strange.
Yeah.
But it's all right.
Okay.
It's all right. I mean, I don't love it as much as a lot of people do. It's certainly better than Lord of the Rings. Anyone that says Lord of the Rings is better is fucking nuts.
Right.
And it's just adult. It's dealing with adult themes, and sometimes provocatively and gratuitously. There's a lot of giving birth with it, like fucking like Niagara Falls of blood.
Right.
But it's for grown-ups, and Lord of the Rings isn't. So
Okay.
That's that. And I'll briefly mention She-Hulk, because you told me that I promised She-Hulk.
I think you promised it.
I think I might have. I really can't remember.
It's just like, why would you not? You watched it. Why would you not have the opportunity to vent your whatever you have about it?
I can't remember if... I feel like I talked about it briefly as a coda to our Thor, Doctor Strange, Ms. Marvel thing, like a line or two. I can't remember. But it was ongoing at the time. Okay, all I can say about She-Hulk, right? It's taken the snarky, self-referential thing to the nth degree with Marvel. It's the most that they've done.
Okay.
Everyone's annoying in it. She's annoying, and I like Tatiana Maslany, but she's annoying in it. Daredevil's in it. You probably saw stuff about that. And I think the epitome of the show for me was she goes on a series of dates, all like white guys, and they're all horrible. And the only one that's actually interesting and interested in her is a black guy. A light-skinned black guy, like he was the one that was actually dreamy. And then they're going to go have sex while she's in like her She-Hulk form. A lot of it is about her just having one-night stands and stuff.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, and he's on the couch, and she picks him up and carries him to the bedroom.
Okay.
And I thought, yeah, that's in a nutshell, that's what that show is. That's what Marvel's trying to do.
Okay.
And it made me feel a bit sick, and that's all I've got to say about She-Hulk.
I did hear something vaguely from, I assume, the head writer, where she was saying, like, we predict 3 years before the show even came out, we predicted what the backlash was going to be.
Right.
And she was saying it through the framework of, like, oh, look how pathetic the trolls are, and how uncreative they are, that they're always saying the same shit over and over again.
Right.
But I just can't help but think, so you knew...
Yeah.
3 years ago you knew people were going to hate this show.
Yeah.
And you just went, fuck it.
Well, it's the same...
Like, we like it. That's what, like, it doesn't need to be fixed.
It's the Velma thing. They don't care about people, the fans. They care about being culturally relevant. It's... Well, like with the films, yeah, Panda, do all that. The TV shows can be a little bit more, ooh, it's about the partition. ooh, it's about female empowerment, you know. Like, every episode ends with a girl power song.
Right.
I don't know if you heard about the finale, where she breaks out of the universe of the show to have a go at Kevin Feige.
What?
You know Kevin Feige?
Yeah, I know Kevin Feige.
I can't remember the exact specifics of it, but she's like, oh, I don't like the way this story is going. I need to confront. So she goes to the Marvel offices and confronts Kevin. Kevin in this being like a sentient AI, Kevin.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah, like I said, it took it to its limit.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
Have you not heard about that?
No.
Yeah, she shags Daredevil.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. I remember seeing a clip of Daredevil doing the Walk of Shame.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pretty much what you said about her carrying that guy into the room,
Yeah.
where it's like,
In a
oh, okay,
nutshell.
it's one of those.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so it's like, oh, no.
Yeah, trust me. After this, I'll show you like some stuff from that.
Please don't.
Oh, it's horrible, Joel. It's just horrible.
When will this end, Sam? When's this going to stop?
Define this for me.
She-Hulk, Scream. What else has done it this year?
Velma.
Velma will be doing it. What else?
So, okay, let's just define exactly what you mean. So,
using, like, referencing what the thing is as a substitute for an actual story.
Right.
Like, rather than writing a finale for She-Hulk, they made it so that She-Hulk went to Kevin Feige and said, I don't like this finale.
Yes.
And, like, in Scream, the whole, like, threat of Scream is, hey, we're in a Scream remake.
Yes.
One of us is the killer.
Yeah.
They're constantly talking about who the killer might be and like, oh, at this point in the film, this would typically happen. So let's do that.
I think Mark Zuckerberg would call it the metaverse, wouldn't he?
Yeah, it's not even... There's no magic circle anymore. There's no, like... No, not verisimilitude. I don't think that's the right word. Magic circle's a good word, though. Where it's like that, you know, there's this ring of immersion that we all enter when we watch a show.
The willing suspension of disbelief.
Willing suspension of disbelief. And we're not even being asked to enter the magic circle anymore. We're just being told, oh, this is a show. This is a character in a show. She knows she's a character in a show now. She's talking to the guy who makes that show.
Well, it's
These characters are following the fucking tropes and framework of the type of film that they're in.
It's the
Consciously.
sort of... well, yeah, it's that kind of smart-ass deconstructivism, postmodern thing, wedded to irritating novel ideology. I think that's the particular marriage that's so toxic. And it's kind of the artistic, the televisual cinematic equivalent of, it's like stand-up. Used to be you went to a stand-up and they made you laugh. Now, there's a lot of agreeing.
Yeah.
And now it's like you're not meant to enjoy the TV show, you're meant to applaud the TV show.
Right.
It's not like, oh yeah, I'm really immersed in this universe. It's, oh, female empowerment.
Right.
Yeah, it's all about the clap.
It's no wonder people watch shit like RuPaul's Drag Race and Strictly
It
Come
really
Dancing.
isn't. It really
That's the only TV you can watch anymore where you're like safe.
We used to call those shows insulting.
Yeah.
And now they're...
It's the only place where you're like guaranteed to be left alone.
But that's the thing, like with Britain's Got Talent, they even did it. They even did the whole Black Lives Matter dance.
Of course.
Yeah, it's...
BLM. Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, I agree. When's it going to end? I have no idea. I mean, things like the NHS, you know, like they're under they're under a certain amount of pressure by the realities of medicine. And if there are thousands and thousands of nominally trans children that are being mistreated by them, at some point the fog has to clear.
Yeah.
And they have to go, all right, okay, ideology is one thing, but look, we just can't do this anymore. TV and film is under no such pressure. So I'm going to say never.
I can't think of that. Like, noir films died. Western
then
films
we got
died.
neo-noir, though.
Yeah, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about what were the big prevailing, like... Because it's a genre at this point, frankly.
Okay, so genres that have died.
Yeah. When you think of, like, the prevailing, like, in the 40s, in the 30s and 40s, everyone made noir films. In the 50s, everyone made westerns.
Well, that's it. I mean, no genre has died.
But they stopped. They fell out of fashion.
Yeah, so westerns, screwball comedies.
Yeah.
Like Roman epics, like biblical epics, musicals.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the big ones, aren't they? That we still get sometimes. Like Hail Caesar, basically. Anything you see in Hail Caesar.
Yeah. This can't be the genre that never dies.
What would you call the genre?
It's like... self-aware, but like a better word for self-aware.
Self-referential.
Kind of.
Because self-aware has a positive connotation.
Yeah.
We like things or people that are self-aware. It's hyper self-aware.
But maybe that's the problem. Like, yeah, it's self-aware in the sense that, like, it's the characters are breaking the fourth wall and they're aware of, the construct of the thing that they're in.
Yeah.
But also it's self-aware as in it's, like, socially aware. It's ideologically aware.
Yes.
So it's supposed to have this positive connotation of, like, oh, look at us, we understand all the things that are wrong and all the things that are good.
Yeah.
But really it's not. Because it's just, like, it's the same... It's always the same points being made. It's always the same jokes. It's always the same punchlines. It's always the same, like, bits of filmmaking that get parodied and referred to. And it's always the same ideology that's being spat back out. So it's not even original material. It lacks self-awareness, if anything, because they don't realise...
Yeah, it's, like, inversely aware.
They're like, there are 3 films this year that have already done the exact same shit as what you're doing now.
Well, maybe this is a thing for the next Sam's Lexicon, but... The thing that springs to mind at the moment is hyper-aware, popular entertainment. So not hope, but hape. Hape. But I'll come up with a better one.
I hate this show.
I think there's something to the self-awareness is ironic.
Yeah.
Because outside the show, there seems to be none of it.
Yeah.
Or rejection of it. You know, like, oh, fuck them.
Yeah.
Like, we'll mount a defense before we've even heard any... There's not even a back to lash at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ideologically driven... self-aware.
Nothing is sacred.
No
attempt to, like, conceal the working parts of the thing.
Yeah. Okay, I'll come up with something for next time.
Okay.
Doctor Who.
Oh, God. God, it gets worse. Oh, no.
Speaking of ideologically driven, hyper-aware.
Or just hyper.
Or just unaware, yeah.
I thought I was going to throw up during those first 10 minutes of the episode.
Yeah.
I told you before tonight, we sat down, I watched it with the family, and we watched it as a family, and I think, though it wasn't said, I think the general desire in the room while watching that episode is we all just wanted to make sure it was truly over.
Yeah.
We all wanted to be sure...
You checking its pulse.
Ding dong, the witch is actually dead this time.
Yes.
And She-Hulk sounds horrific.
It is.
But I would say that, like, from what I've seen, what even was the last one? The Legend of the Sea Devils? Was that
the one before? Yeah.
Yeah, Legend of the Sea Devils. I would posit that that's the worst piece of scripted television this year.
I'd be inclined to agree, yeah.
Yeah. This episode is slightly better than that.
It is better,
It's still fucking atrocious.
Yeah.
But it's not as bad as Legend of the Sea Devil, so at least there's that, I suppose.
Yes.
But it's still been like a rough ride.
Well, it's the beauty of Doctor Who, in a way, for me, it induces a kind of boredom-inspired amnesia.
Right.
Which is, I never remember, like, I could not tell you, there are things I remember about it, but I don't know what happened.
Okay.
And I sat down and I watched it in real time.
The whole hour and a half.
The whole hour and a half in one sitting. I didn't speed it up. I just sat down and I watched the hour and a half thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened.
Okay.
I know it was a hodgepodge of whatever actor was alive that they could get back. So yeah, they resurrected, was it 4 actors that played the Doctor? None of the most popular ones, I don't think, right?
I don't know who...
Tom Baker's the most popular Doctor.
Yeah, Tom Baker's the most popular one, and they didn't have him because I think he just didn't want to do it. There were reports saying, like, oh, he didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
He's 88, in fairness to him.
Yeah.
But, like, he did the 50th.
Yeah.
He didn't come back for this.
Yeah.
But they had everyone else that they could get. So they had David Bradley, who's just standing for William Hartnell.
That makes it weird as well.
That makes it weird. But that's what's so annoying, because, like... You've got Doctor 5, 6, 7, and 8. So, Paul McGann, Sylvester McCoy. I'm going backwards for some reason. Yeah. Paul McGann, Sylvester McCoy, Colin Baker, and Peter Davison.
Yeah.
Those Doctors returned.
Yes.
As they are now.
Yeah. Not as the Doctor.
Not as the Doctor.
Yeah.
As the old men that they've become.
Where do they age?
Well, that's the thing, because, like, in the context of this show, in the context of this episode... They're in the Doctor's imagination. They're not real. They're the Doctor's memory.
Oh, it makes even less sense then.
Yeah. Like, Paul McGann, he's aged well, in fairness to him.
So and that's why he's the main one.
Yeah, and so he kind of looks like how he used to look.
Yeah.
And David Bradley, is the same age or a similar age to William Hartnell when he was the Doctor. So those two look like the Doctor as we remember them, as much as they can. But then all of the other Doctors are just old men.
But also, if David Bradley's playing William Hartnell, why then not just bring in other actors to play?
Because they haven't done it. Because they didn't have anyone else.
That's the only reason.
Yeah.
It's one of those things against the production reality.
Yeah.
Why those 4 Doctors? Oh, right.
Because they're all we had.
5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and the 1st.
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate when you just see through... You see the limitations of the thing. The real world production, Like when an actor leaves a show and they didn't play it fine, there's nothing you can do about that. But when there's so much they could have done with that construct, one Doctor. It's one of the Doctors for some reason.
Yeah.
The first one, But
we don't know who the first Doctor is anymore. That's the problem. There's nothing sacred anymore.
There's nothing sacred. But you know what I mean? Like, just pick one and then come up with some contrivance for why it had to be that one.
Well, they had
the fact that you've got 4 of them and they're arbitrary.
That's the thing. They had a 5th Doctor companion and a 7th Doctor companion in this episode. Because there's a scene between the 5th Doctor and that one and the 7th.
Didn't know that neaded resolving.
Well, yeah.
Who knew that relationship needed resolution?
Yeah. Oh, Doctor, you abandoned me for 40 years. Soz.
All right.
All right, I forgive you, Doctor.
Yeah.
Because even the companion is like, oh, you look old now. And he doesn't even acknowledge it.
Yeah.
And it's the...
Well, hang on. If it's her memory, how are they interacting?
Oh, don't fucking even.
No, seriously. If it was in her head...
No, it's like... So when they're interacting with the companions, it's a hologram produced by the TARDIS.
Oh.
And so the person who's interacting with the hologram, their idea of the Doctor, or their memory of the Doctor, is influencing the form the hologram takes.
Okay, whatever.
But that's the thing. They bothered to explain that. I wouldn't care so much if it wasn't a Doctor who has acknowledged and addressed this before.
Yeah.
There's that special, that like Children Need like 5-minute special with David Tennant and Peter Davison in the TARDIS.
Right.
And there's some bullshit like, oh, because we now occupy the same TARDIS, the timelines are compensating, which is why you look old now. And it's total bullshit, but they acknowledge it.
I know that a show like this, you're gonna run into so many like plot holes, and I know it's basically impossible to avoid, but not as much as they have, and not they're like giving themselves more work than they need to. I mean, you just set up when you sit down and you set up the rules of the universe, and then you just stick to the rules.
Yeah,
that's it. Like all this. I mean, it's the. I think Kermo before he talked about the Michael Bolton thing, where he just peaks too soon. You start off with the highest, now like, where do we go now? Doctor Who, it's been the most fateful, deadliest thing that could ever exist 20,000 times.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't know what the ultimate stakes are, It was bad. It was bad.
It was very bad.
Sacha Dhawan was embarrassing.
Someone needs to sit him down and go, right, have you actually seen The Dark Knight? You know that he's not that crazy, right?
Yeah. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work either because even if he was meant to be crazy, Dhawan is not a good actor. Or at least he's not good at doing the Master.
No.
And it comes across as insincere.
I think it's the same problem with Jodie Whittaker in that she's not a bad actor,
miscast.
But she's woefully miscast.
Yeah.
She would have made a good companion. I'd be interested to see if Dhawan is companion or Doctor material. He's certainly not Master material.
No, well, the thing with the Master is him being crazy, it's insincere. It feels like playing a crazy person. Like when he laughs, like, oh God, that was a person performing a fake laugh. That wasn't like the Joker. When Batman's beating the shit out of the Joker and he laughs, like, he's just finding it hilarious.
Yeah.
That's a genuine from the gut laugh. He's just going like, it made my skin crawl. I think it's the worst performance of the year.
Really?
In a TV show, at least, like 100%. You rarely get that bad performance in a show of that caliber.
It's the same problem that both of them have, though, both Whittaker and Dhawan, where they're doing things that previous Doctors or previous Masters have done, and they can't pull it off.
Yeah,
like Missy was crazy. Yeah. I feel like Missy could push it too far sometimes.
Yeah.
But Missy did crazy. John Sim pulled off crazy as well.
He did it really well. And it was more suitable for the tone of the show then as well.
Exactly, yeah. But if you look at what John Sim is doing and you look at what Dhawan's trying to do, they're not vastly different.
They're not worlds apart.
They're not worlds apart. No. There's just something about John Sim, though, Where
He's
it's
just
like,
a better actor.
he could just pull it off.
He's just a better
and
actor.
it doesn't feel like a person acting.
No, and I'm not saying it's, of course, because of his ethnicity.
No.
But you feel like he was cast as the Master because of his ethnicity.
I'm sure it didn't hurt.
So necessarily, he's not the best actor they could have got for the role as a result of that. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not saying he's a terrible actor. He might be good in other things. But this is what happens with diversity casting.
Yeah.
It's like, it made me feel sick. Like when he's dancing to Rasputin and...
Oh, that was awful.
Yeah.
Both me and my sister just went, ugh.
Yeah.
As soon as that
Is that
happened.
the worst TV moment of the year?
That's up there. That's absolutely up there. They thought that was funny, didn't they? Or they thought it was like cute or something.
Inevitable. He was playing Rasputin, so they were going to play the Boney M song.
Yeah.
But I think I mentioned this to you. So I was at a club last year on my birthday, and this 18-year-old started talking to us, and we ended up talking about the Russian Revolution for some reason, and he knew Rasputin by Boney M.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like being the old man and going, "What? You're 18. Like, what business do you know? Do you have knowing Boney M?" And he went, "Oh, I don't know." And I thought, "Oh, he's a precocious young man." And then I talked to someone else, and they said, "Oh, it's like a big trending thing on TikTok at the moment."
Yeah.
That's why it was in Doctor Who, because it's a big trending thing on TikTok.
Yeah.
It was. Or just that, like, oh, funny, innit? Like, we'll come to that with something else later, but playing, like, a song that's vaguely relevant, like a classic. Oh, like, it's like an ironic use. It's not like an epic score.
Yeah.
We're playing an old cheesy pop song.
But that, like, John Sim did that as well, though. That's another thing that, like, John Sim actually did, is when the Toclafane are, like, coming out of the sky.
Yeah.
He plays like, "Here come the drums, baby, baby."
Right, okay, yeah, sure.
Because he's hearing the drums in his head. So it's like music tying into the character, what the character's going through. But again, like, it fit the tone of the show better.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like I wanted to cringe out of existence when it happened,
Because Sacha Dhawan, I didn't buy when he was, like, manic and laughing.
No.
It was so insincere. And also when he was being menacing, I was like, I don't find you menacing in the slightest bit. When he's looking in their eyes and going, "You'll do what I say, won't you?" And you're like, fuck off.
I mean, there might be something to the diversity thing. Like I said, it probably didn't hurt that he fulfilled the quota.
But you've pointed out before that it's like they use the Master as a test case. Well, make it a woman.
I think it's definitely
the Doctor
that.
be a woman, and now it's an ethnic minority male.
Well, that's the thing. It's not 1-to-1 because I think Dhawan's Indian or of Indian descent, or that part of the world anyway. And Ncuti Gatwa was Rwandan, Scottish, Rwandan.
Yeah, but like, you know, not a white man.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's definitely in there, but also because when we first see the Master, it's in the Spyfall episode where he's just playing an MI6 spy.
Yes,
and he's just good and nice and honest and like trying to help. And we later find out it's all a ruse and he's actually the Master. I think they cast him for the bit where he's not being the Master.
Yeah.
Because he's
they cast him because he's in, what's it called? An Adventure in Space and Time.
Oh yeah, they recycle all of their actors.
Yeah, but that's, yeah.
So
I can see
they were probably looking to like put him in something, and like this just ended up like, oh, we've got this part for you.
Yeah.
But he's so much better suited to that bit where he's pretending to be a normal guy.
Yes.
I'm semi-convinced that they cast him for that, so it would be a genuine surprise.
Yeah, believable. So that it's supposed to be a big surprise when he is the Master.
But the problem is he's the Master now, and they're stuck with him being the Master. I guess not now. I don't imagine that he's going to be David Tennant's Master or Ncuti Gatwa's Master. I imagine they're going to recast them again.
I fucking hope so. The scene between him and what's her face, Yasmin, is that her name?
Yeah,
in the TARDIS. Just where he's being like crazy.
Like she's like a trainee police officer. She's like, mate, I've had weapons training.
Yeah.
Why? You're British police and you're not even police yet.
Yeah. It was horrible.
It was horrible. Daleks were utterly pointless.
Yeah.
Like, I'm terrible in the sense that, like, I know the Daleks are oversaturated and overused, and there's always a contrivance to bring them back. Mm-hmm. But I still kind of like, oh, it's the Daleks. Right. I do like the Daleks.
Yes.
They were utterly pointless here. Absolutely no reason for them to be here.
And also, you have the rogue Dalek that's turned against his species. And he kind of pops up as a hologram or whatever in the TARDIS, and she's like, "What are you doing here?" And it's
it's like, oh, she's being serious now. What are you doing?
Yeah,
what do you want?
The thing is, I brought up to you that Eccleston episode where he's like, kill it, they're scum. They just want to like, kill, they want to exterminate everyone. And you believe it. There's a darkness to that. And it was with Tennant, and it was with Smith, and it was with Capaldi. I don't think it's sexist. Let's bring back that word. She can't do it.
No.
And there are plenty of actresses who could. She can't do it.
There's a lot she can't do.
Yeah.
The accent, obviously. She had to keep her native accent.
Yes.
She couldn't do an RP one. Though Shooty seems to be using his native accent as well.
What was Capaldi doing?
Capaldi was doing his natural accent.
Yeah, as was...
Yeah, I think Matt Smith was the... No, David Tennant was the last Doctor to not use his native accent.
Yeah.
Matt Smith just happened to be close to
RP.
RP.
Yeah.
Like, okay, if that's the trend going forward, like, okay.
Yeah.
But at the time, it was a good indication where, like, her reason wasn't like, oh, we want to change... It wasn't about, like, changing the definition of the Doctor or anything. It was just, I can't do that accent, so we didn't... I kept my real accent.
Well, the accent thing is a whole thing. Like, I don't understand. We had so many conversations about what it means when they regenerate. But when, like, Rose says to Eccleston, why do you have a northern accent? And he says, every planet has a north, or whatever the line is.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, that's a funny, witty thing.
Yeah. It'll do.
And it'll do.
Yeah.
But that's not, obviously, that's not true.
No.
That's not, because... And why did Tennant do the British accent if the rest haven't bothered? Not British, the English accent if the rest haven't bothered.
I think with him, I am speculating at this point, but I think with him it was just because he had this idea of what the Doctor was, and he wants to.
I don't think it was him.
That.
I don't think it was. I mean, it could well have been him, but no, that was a time when Doctor Who, the Doctor's English. So if you get a non-English actor, they just do an English accent, and that's fine. But the way the culture has gone, by the time you get to Capaldi, it's like, oh, we don't need to do that anymore. Why must the Doctor be an English white man?
Yeah.
You don't have to do that anymore. So, and that's fine. I have no problem with them doing their own, even though Shruti Gatwa's very brief appearance in the promo was also embarrassing. Yeah. What the hell is going on here?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, just to finish that point I was making about the fact that she can't do anything.
Yeah.
It's sort of tying into like the problem with the Master as well. Like I was saying that like he is trying. It feels like he's trying to do the John Sim thing and he just can't pull it off.
Yeah.
That constant like talking, that constant talking thing she does, where she talks constantly.
Yeah, yeah.
That feels very like David Tennant, Matt Smith, even Capaldi to a certain degree, where they are like. It's like their brain is like talking to itself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they're trying to keep up with their own train of thought, and they're just throwing things out there to see what sticks. And then when Whittaker does it just feels like a person saying lines. It just feels like someone talking, delivering exposition.
She always has the same energy, is the thing.
That's a problem as well, yeah.
The rest moderated it and modulated it. She's always in that. I've done the impression of you, where it's just like, she's always slightly leaned forward, like primed.
Yeah.
And so, like, we gotta go now. We gotta do that. It's just like, that's what it always is. And, like, she's looking around and she's in that stupid fucking coat.
Well, okay, here's a question.
Yeah.
Why do you think Tennant didn't keep Whittaker's clothes when he regenerated?
Oh, I don't know.
Because this is the only time I've known this to happen where they didn't keep the old Doctor's outfit.
Because I think by implication he'd have knickers and a bra on.
Well, that's the thing. The Master wore it gladly.
What, when Sacha Dhawan...
Yeah, when Sacha Dhawan played the Doctor, he had the Doctor's outfit on.
No, hang on. Did the Master transform into Sacha Dhawan?
No, the Master... Sacha Dhawan became the Doctor. As in, he replaced Jodie Whittaker's body with his body.
Okay.
Spoilers? This episode is just fucking noise.
Yeah.
It's total noise. I said to you tonight that, like during that opening sequence where they're like raiding a space train with Cybermen on it, Dad sort of like leaned over to me and he went, I think it's what I've said before on the podcast, but it's like, I think the best episodes of Doctor Who, they're the ones that are like, they're simple and there's like a couple of characters and it's a strong idea and it's just nice and simple to the soundtrack of Cybermen.
Yeah.
As the train is like hurtling through space and
Speaking of which, so obviously John Bishop almost dies in that encounter.
Oh, that's so funny. Like the era that's insisted on having the most amount of people to represent the most amount of people.
Yeah.
Had to get rid of John Bishop immediately because they had no fucking place for him in that episode.
He almost dies, so he's like, oh, I should leave now.
Yeah.
And then we see at the end of the episode, there's a support group for old companions.
Yeah.
And the thing I hate about that is, I mean, you get it in a lot of things, like big blockbuster movies and everything, but when the characters are in mortal peril, we know that they're not, because it's the beginning of the film, or the tone is not like that. They don't.
No.
So they can't behave all quippy and... Why is he there anyway? What does he do? That's the idea at the end of, like, I get it would be hard, like, readjusting to life after you've seen the universe and everything. And I get the function of support group insofar as that was pretty traumatic, all the shit that I went through.
Yeah.
And but it had its moments and I'm finding it hard to reintegrate. But not like, oh, I miss it so much.
Yeah,
like,
it would be,
for God's sake.
It would be kind of interesting if there was a support group dealing with people who've been traumatized
by the Doctor. Yeah.
By the Doctor. But no, it's just, oh yeah, that was really nice. I want to tell people how nice it was.
It was a way of just... it was a pat on the back and a way of rounding off this era. We'll see some of the people in the support group.
Yeah.
You know. Good riddance. It's over.
It's over and done with. We've only got Tennant back for one episode, but we've already said that we're dubious about...
Yeah.
It really could go either way with Russell T Davies, so... But I will say, like, after seeing Jodie Whittaker regenerate on the fakest cliff I've ever seen, in front of the fakest ocean I've ever seen...
Yeah.
To see the Next Time trailer...
Yes.
Have a practical car explosion in it...
Yeah.
I'm already more confident going into that special.
Yeah. But then again, Gatwa, the backdrop for him is pretty dire
that does
as
look terrible.
Yeah.
That looks it looks like a temporary... I hope it's a temporary backdrop.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, that looks proper bad.
Let's move on, shall we?
Yeah, okay.
Better Call Saul.
Oh, this is not proper bad.
It's not.
There you go. That's a review of Better Call Saul.
So we told them that we would talk about Better Call Saul.
We did.
When we finished watching it.
Yes.
We've now finished watching it.
We have.
What to say?
Go on.
What to say? My notes are 5 question marks.
Okay. Because you don't know what to say? Or
what do you say about it?
It's great.
It's brilliant. It's one of the best shows ever.
One of the best shows ever. Best prequel ever, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was like really... like I don't know whether I missed it on my first... This was my first proper run-through of the show.
Yeah.
I was watching it when it was airing, and I think I got as far as...
3, wasn't it?
I don't know if I got as far as Chicanery or the Series 3 finale. But I certainly never got further than Series 3.
Okay.
I do think that watching it... You lose that kind of like... When you're watching it week to week, and indeed season to season... Obviously, it carries more weight to it because you're waiting that much longer, but also you have time to kind of like digest it and talk about it and think about it. But I think like you really appreciate the craft of it more.
The intricacy.
The intricacies of it when you're watching it in one go.
There's a lot of detail if you're watching it week to week, year to year.
Yeah.
Yeah, in one, it really holds up as a unit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is surprising. Like, I can't think of another show off the top of my head that, like, holds its own when watched in one sitting. Yeah. Because usually, like, that you lose something by watching a show in one sitting, don't you? It's like, oh, I've kind of, like, I've seen it all now.
Well, I think it's because the pace of it. It's just nicely paced. Like, it has that slow burn thing of Breaking Bad, but like Breaking Bad, it's not dull, and you can savour everything.
It's not dull. It's weird, because, like, there are moments of Better Call Saul that are exciting. Yeah. Genuinely exciting.
Big, gunfights and that kind of thing.
But there's a lot more of that in Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad is the more overtly...
more dynamic show.
Dynamic, entertaining, exciting show.
Yeah.
Like Better Call Saul, some of the more exciting moments, or like some of the more dramatic, big moments are like someone finds a document.
Well, I said like...
that says a thing,
Earlier, that, the stakes are different. There are some overlaps. Sometimes they're in mortal peril. Yeah. But Jimmy is never going to kill anybody. Yes. And toward the end, he edges close to it. Like with, the guy in the house, is he going to hit him over the head? Yeah. The woman, when she's going to dob him in, is he going to kill... And he never does, Breaking Bad didn't have that... he could go and kill somebody after a certain point. So the stakes are different, and rightly so. It shouldn't have been the same thing as Breaking Bad. Yeah. Like, again, I've been watching with my father, so I'm watching the final season with him now. And there's that thing where he defends Lalo, and so all the people in the court hate him now because he defended a genuine... And that's the final season, it's not like boom, 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 all this explosions, and, Not that, like, Breaking Bad was all that. Yeah. But, it was a lot more. And it could be because it was the end.
I wonder what he did or was doing to Judge Papadumian. That even after he defended Lalo Salamanca in court, she still is like his biggest fan.
Yeah.
Because that's funny, is that like across Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, there's all this mention of this Judge Papadumian, who he's on really good terms with, and we never meet her.
No.
Never ever
it's
meet her.
It's like a joke, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I was saying that like, I don't know whether I just lost it or didn't pick up on it the first time around.
Mm-hmm.
This commits what many people have often like brought up as like a cardinal sin of prequels.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of over origin storying everything.
Yes.
It's the Solo is like my go-to example. I don't know what the typical go-to example is, but when he signs up for the Empire and they say, "What's your last name?" and he goes, "I don't have one." And they go, "Han Solo."
Yeah, I would use Repilot of the Shield as of doing it too much, where every little the dynamics of characters. Like, here's where they pick on Dutch, and here's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was like every facet of that character, whether it needs an origin story or not, it's fucking getting one.
Yes.
And it's getting one within this very narrow window of time.
Yeah. I've definitely brought it up before, but that's why I love season 2 of Fargo. Is they lull you into, because Maudie's mother has died.
Yeah.
And they lull you into that thing of she's going to die in the penultimate episode, and she doesn't.
No.
She's going to live for a bit longer, and but it's almost like it's playing with the audience. It's like, because this is a prequel to season 1, you're expecting that the mother's going to die.
Yeah.
I'm going to tease you with that, but no, she's not. I love that about it, you know? Yes, because not everything is contextualized within a very narrow band of time,
And Better Call Saul is full of moments like that. The finale of Series 1 shows you how he got his famous ring.
Yeah.
And there's like moments where just like little things the characters mention. Like, for example, when he's doing the bingo and he goes, B for Belize. I want someone to send me to Belize one day, but I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Yeah.
Like a nudge, nudge, wink, wink, because you know what's coming.
Yeah.
All of that stuff that it does, and not once did it set a foot wrong. Not once was it too egregious or unnecessary.
But then again, there are also examples of restraint as well, and a recognition of, when you're actually in the story with the characters, there's not space for... I've faced that loads of times, like, okay, in this season of the show, I'd want to do this, 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 and this. And then when you start organically writing how it unfolds, like, I'm not going to have time to get to that thing.
Yeah.
It's just other things were suggested. And like in Breaking Bad, he says he has 3 ex-wives. Only one is in Better Call Saul, I think the other 2 he'd already married by the time the show started.
Oh, right, okay.
Like when he was a young man or whatever.
Yeah.
So but I know what you mean. That it's rife with those... Like Crazy 8, we find out why he's called Crazy 8.
Yeah, we find out why he's called Crazy.
Loco.
Yeah, like did we need that? No, but we got it, and it works.
And it works.
Yeah,
and it's because it's not ham-fisted, and it's not. It doesn't come from a place of the show isn't built around contextualizing everything you see in Breaking Bad.
No,
it's incidental.
Yeah,
there is a separate story that you're following.
Yeah,
and those moments just nice. But I would say
like entirety. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
but I was just say the entirety of season 4 is built around how did that underground meth lab, where did that come from?
Right. Kind of.
But
like that's the thing.
But that's the thing.
I don't think that's the question. It's not you're watching it going, so that's how the meth lab happened.
No, that's the
You're
thing.
following the story of Mike losing his soul when he has to kill Vernon.
And that's why it works. Yeah. It's because they always manage to put it, if it's a bigger than like a throwaway thing like the Belize comment, they always manage to put it in a context which works within that story.
Yeah.
When he gets that ring, it turns out the ring is from an old friend that he used to sort of like con with that dies, and so he inherits the ring, and he is like about to go into like the courthouse to like make a deal with a law firm
to be gentrified,
and he looks at the ring and he goes, "No, I'm not that guy."
Yeah.
It inspires a character beat.
Yes.
And like the underground meth lab, who would have looked at like a Better Call Saul prequel and thought, that underground meth lab in Breaking Bad that Saul never goes to?
Yeah.
That's going to be the backdrop to one of the best subplots in the entire show.
Yeah, and just the whole, the show starts, you have Jimmy and you have Mike. And they have that tenuous connection, and then both kind of go off on their own stories, and they, like, once a season, they'll meet for a job or whatever. And then, like, by season 4, that's sort of gone, is Mike has hit...
It's like they tease you. There's, like, a couple of moments where Jimmy calls Mike and says, "Hey, I got a job for you," and he goes, "Nah." And they never meet.
Yeah. And it's, You have the world of Mike and the cartel and the world of Jimmy. And you think, oh, okay, that's fine. They've sort of settled into that until the ending when all of it just comes together in one. And it works so beautifully. Like, obviously spoilers for the whole show. Like, Lalo killing Howard is a beautiful crystallization of two characters that have no business meeting whatsoever from the two different worlds. Yeah. It's perfect. It's just so perfectly realised. And you can't believe that they didn't sit down for months and months and months and plan out every beat of the whole show. No. But they didn't, because that's not how writing works.
I still don't believe them.
I know, but...
I think they're lying to us, Sam, I'll be honest with you.
It's pretty much... it's not my favourite show. There are shows I like more, but it's the closest to a perfect show, I think, that there is, really.
There's, like... It's a masterclass on all fronts, definitely. Like,
it's flawless.
Yeah, when you think about, like... when you want to demonstrate a cinematic craft being practiced at its peak, you have, like, different films and shows for different... So, like, cinematographers, here's the cinematography films. Yeah. Here's the editing films. Here's the acting films, the directing films, the writing films. Better Call Saul is one of those rare things where you could show that show to every craftsman simultaneously, and they will all feel equally as inadequate.
Yeah, I mean, biased to an extent, obviously, but I would put The Social Network in that category as well.
Yeah, it's not... like Better Call Saul is not on its own.
Oh, no, I know. I'm saying that it brought to mind... Yeah, it's not just... Because I was thinking earlier, people say, is it a Sorkin film or is it a Fincher film? No, it's both. That's the whole point. But yeah, like, similarly, the sound of, them in the club, they're actually shouting at each other, and the cinematography, and, the music. Yeah. On every level, the craft is flawless, and just the luck of... Like, having a good TV show is... You have to luck out in so many fronts anyway. But when every single thing is awards... It's the best in its field. Yes. Like the editing and just... I think we started watching it, and we should point out that a trend developed where every episode we would throw cushions at the TV because it was just so annoyingly good.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like
to the point where you were like watching it with your father. Yeah. And you did it instinctively, and he was like,
what the fuck
are you doing?
and it could have been for so many different things. It could have been for... a neat little plot twist, a bit of dialogue, foreshadowing. For me, a lot, it was the visuals. Look at that fucking shot. Yeah. Just, every frame is a painting in the show. Yeah. But like we started watching it, and you have the introduction to Gene in the modern day, and then back in the courthouse in 2001 or 2 or whenever it is, and we were just talking about the sound design of the courtroom. It's every little thing.
This show makes silence sounds so rich.
Oh yeah, it truly is flawless, and that's why it's difficult to talk about it in any kind of micro aspect, because it's flawless. There's the performances are great across the board. Yep. Odenkirk, obviously. Ray Seahorn, brilliant. I would say, like, even Patrick Fabian, who of the ensemble is the least used, and you just kind of accept, and then you just kind of think, Howard, I disliked him a bit. But why did I dislike him? Yeah. I can't even work out now why I ever disliked him. He just has this soul and this heart that emerges.
You're just watching, like, season 5 and 6 going, sorry, why does he deserve this?
Yeah, like, not at all. No. Like, not at all. You're not with them at all at that point. Michael McKean.
Yeah, obviously Chuck is fantastic.
And even, like, Lalo. Like, I thought a show like Better Call Saul, they're not going to introduce a villain that's as magnetic as Gus, or as, and he doesn't have the import that Gus has in Breaking Bad, but he truly has a menacing aura about him.
It's so impressive that he came into not just Better Call Saul, but the Breaking Bad universe as late as he did, and he's one of its most iconic characters.
100%. I love the little character things that... Because everyone in both shows, pretty much, is smart. Because they think of, like, they love that idea of if the villain is smart, the hero has to be even smarter. Like, yes. And so everyone is smart. Everyone is as smart as the writers, basically. Like, right, they think of this, they think of that. Yeah. And so when characters do outsmart each other, it's even more impressive because you go, that makes so much sense that would be the thing. But I like the little things that distinguish characters. Obviously, you've got Gus's placidity, Mike's gruffness. I love the thing with Lalo is that he's kind of mental, but in a controlled, smart way, and he's the guy that will just do the thing. Yeah. So, like in the 4th season finale, where he just climbs into the air vent and murders the guy.
It just drops down on him. Yeah.
Or like when Mike is he puts gum in the machine so that Lalo can't get out. Yeah, Lalo's pretty much the only character in the show that would drive into the back of the other car to get out.
Yeah.
And like when the car, he goes to find Jimmy's overturned car in the desert and he just jumps.
Yeah.
He's the only guy that would do that in the show.
Oh, his physicality,
the physicality
definitely helps him stand out. Also, his smile, his wicked smile.
His smile. And he's definitely one of those, like, I would not want to be alone with Lalo. You know, like, it's so rare that a character can be that intimidating.
Yeah. And it builds up over time as well, which is what's interesting.
It does build up,
He's not menacing at first. I know, like, when we first meet him, he's not presented as menacing.
No, but it's kind of like, who's this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's cucking, isn't he? And he's all, like, jovial.
Yeah.
And, by the time he walks in to their apartment and then you just see their reaction rather than him, and they just fucking cower in fear. You're like, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember first watching it when he walks in and Howard's there, my stomach dropping. It's like, oh no, this is not going to end well. No. And that scene, it's horrible.
Yeah.
When he kills Howard, it's truly, truly horrible. What do you say about Better Call Saul, George? I know. It's perfect.
It's unfair, is what it is.
It is unfair.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely annoyed at how good it is. The visual palette, you know, the phones, Huel. You know, Gordon Smith every season.
He's just naming things now.
Yeah, I know, I'm just listing things.
He's just listing
Gordon
things from Better Call Saul.
Every season having a whammy of an episode.
Yeah.
5-0, and then there's a Bally High in the second season. Or was it Inflatable? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Chicanery.
Yeah,
that episode in and of itself. Yeah, Bad Choice Road.
Yeah.
That thing in the fourth season, which it's not one of the things most talked about with what's great about the show, but I think it's one of my favourite little subplot episode things. It's when Huel's arrested and they have to go to Alabama or whatever.
Oh God, yeah,
Louisiana, and write the whole.
That's great. Yeah,
the phones and doing. It's just
just like the phones in general. It's like that had to be thought out.
Yeah,
you don't just go, oh right, so he's going to sell phones for a year. Maybe this will lead to something. Maybe it won't.
Yeah,
and then it becomes so integral to the rest of the show and Saul's identity as well.
And every scheme is different.
Yeah,
and the plot, they're clever, and they have different stakes, and they never repeat themselves. And kind of Kim's descent into that world.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to say.
Yeah, other than just like naming, saying things that happened and naming things that are in the show.
Yeah.
That's all this review.
I think what it comes down to is it's basically a flawless show.
Yeah.
That is one of the shows I can count on one hand that doesn't set a toe wrong.
No.
There's not one little moment where you think, oh, maybe that's not the best character. There was one that I thought might be, which is when Mike meets that woman at a group.
Yeah.
And like, oh, that might be a budding relationship. But the whole point of that was that it wasn't going to be.
Yes.
You know, nah, he's not, you know, there was the option of that, but he pulled back.
Yeah, he had a choice to not go down this path, but he went down it anyway.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I mean,
Nacho, even him.
Oh, Nacho's great. That's the thing.
Dignity. And
yeah, Nacho is sort of like one of the forgotten heroes of that show, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But like in any other show, he would be one of the standout character.
Yeah.
And then in Better Call Saul, he's just like fifth or sixth down the ladder, but still like an amazing character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we said we expressed not distaste because it's not a problem. It's very clear why the show is doing what it's doing, but just how like without flaw, without issue, Mike's family is.
Oh yeah, no, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can actually be quite annoying.
Yeah. How like
not the kid so much as Stacy, is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah. More on her later.
Oh right. Oh, is she in something else?
She's in Banshees.
Oh, of course she is. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, and I know what it's doing. The show is like Mike has to have that bubble of purity.
Yeah.
So that when he falls out with his with his granddaughter, for example, that's a genuinely harrowing prospect for Mike as well, not just for us. It's like, oh yeah, that's if that gets corrupted, there is nothing left for Mike.
Yeah.
Also, for me personally, I don't know how you feel about it. Gus was one of the weaker characters for me in this show. I know that he's such a strong outing in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that they kept his past ambiguous. There was no temptation. There probably was temptation, but they never gave into the temptation to kind of suggest more about like his history in Chile and where he came from and what the hell is up with him in general.
I think I was talking to my uncle about it because I was surprised to learn he'd watched Better Call Saul, and he said, "Oh, they're doing another one now about Gus's." I was like, "They're not.
No,
that's an internet thing, maybe Facebook. That's not going to happen because he's going to get older and older and older."
Yes,
I guess it's like 20 or whatever. No, I agree. I think it was difficult because Gus in Better Call Saul even starts off as he has to be an elusive, cryptic figure for Mike. And he's kind of already formed by that point.
It's the same Gus that we meet in Breaking Bad.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with obviously Jimmy, this whole show is about Jimmy's evolution or devolution from Jimmy to Saul Goodman. Mike, behaviorally, Mike is very much the same when we meet him, but he's still got a long ways to go before he's the Mike that we know.
Yeah.
And obviously he's as competent as Mike is in Breaking Bad. But again,
Mike in Better Call Saul wouldn't just walk into that warehouse and kill all the cartel
No,
guys.
exactly. Yeah, Mike does need to go through some change, but the Gus that we meet is the same Gus from Breaking Bad, and because his future is determined and his past is to remain ambiguous, it sort of renders the character immobile.
Yeah.
In a show full of characters that are constantly changing and evolving and devolving, and it's a shame.
No, I agree. There was no way around it, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I like...
He's too integral to Mike's story. You have to have him. I understand it. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. No, it's unfortunate. Yeah, but there has to be a weakest thing. But that's why I like the coda to his story in Saul, which is him at that restaurant, having the wine, and the guy, like, they're kind of clearly hitting it off, and there might be a thing there. But then he's like, yeah, no, I can't be with anybody. And he leaves. Because it was like a little peek into his humanity,
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
No.
Just watch it.
Yeah, if you haven't watched it already, go now, please.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Should we review Black Adam?
Is this revenge, Sam?
For...
Because I made you watch a shit film with The Rock in it, you're making me watch a shit film with The Rock in it.
At least mine had a practical purpose to it.
What was that?
We're doing it.
We did The Tooth Fairy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but that was like completely arbitrary.
No, it was...
Oh, no, sorry, because it was around... what even was it?
It was supposed to be National Tooth Day, and then the episode ended up coming out 2 months later.
Okay.
Whereas this is just... You just made me watch a shit superhero
this is
film.
a new film, is why I made you watch
joy.
it. I know.
Oh, wonderful.
Well, I'd like to say I hadn't seen it before I asked you to watch it.
Okay.
So I knew it was going to be shit.
Okay.
And it is. It's fucking shit.
Yeah, it's just...
That's the first note.
It's one of the first... Not one of the first, that's not fair. It's been a while since I've watched a film, and I felt the time that I was losing watching it.
Yeah. Okay, so here are some words and terms.
Okay.
Kandak,
Yes?
Eternium, Six Demons, the Council of Wizards, Crown of Shabak, and the Intergang. That was in the first 6 minutes that I got all that.
It's okay.
Good, like that opening thing where they're explaining everything.
Yeah.
I was like, I need to make a note of all the new terms I have to learn.
Yeah.
And it'd been like 5-6 minutes.
Okay.
That's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much.
There's nothing wrong with... Because I was surprised by the fact that this is... Like, it's its own setting with its own history and mythology. It's not just, oh, it's Black Adam in Chicago, New York, ambiguous superhero city. It's like, it's kind of like Black Panther in the sense that it's like...
Well, it's Wakanda, yeah.
Wakanda, yeah. But yeah, it's got like a setting with a history
yes.
separate from the rest of the universe. So that was like... Well, I wasn't expecting that. I won't say whether it was good or bad.
Okay, yeah, fine.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting it either.
Yeah.
But it was more annoying that they did that.
Yeah.
Not that it was a unique setting, but we'll get to it.
Okay.
Well, it looks boring, ugly, and cheap.
Yes. Are they still trying to copy Zack Snyder, do you think?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they've got James Gunn now. They don't need to copy Zack Snyder anymore.
Well, okay, so I'm not a big fan of Black Panther, right? But it did do that Pan-African thing well. Like blending all the different traditional cultural aesthetic stuff with like futurism. Is it Afrofuturism? Is that what they called it?
Something like that.
Yeah, like Afrofuturism. It's like top-notch production design. This is a bit of South Africa, a bit of Egypt, a bit of ancient Greece.
Yeah, I don't really know where this... It kind of felt Middle Eastern.
It felt South Africa to me.
Okay.
Like South Africa with Middle Eastern inflections.
Yeah.
All shot through that Snyder filter.
Yeah.
It's so dull to look at. It's like a lot of it was 300-esque. They even have like the kicking into the...
Yeah, a lot of slow motion.
A lot of slow... Yeah, speeding up and slowing down, speeding up and slowing down. Yeah, yeah.
Whenever the fucking Wind Girl is on screen, they have to like slow it down so you can see her. It's like,
I know.
I know she's there, it's fine.
Yeah, it's cool.
So you don't need to make the film longer.
Is it even worth explaining the plot before we go into it?
Did it have one?
Well, yeah, okay. So they play early on.
Did it?
You have the introduction, like... Basically, it's about they were slaves, and then someone revolted against the masters.
Yeah.
And then he was like entombed by a king in prison, and now he's come back, and it's a whole different type of slavery or some shit. So early on, after we get the opening, here's what happened in the past thing. They play Bullet with Butterfly Wings, which is of course a big no-no.
I think there should be a rule.
Yeah.
An enforceable rule.
You have to earn.
Like, you could go to prison rule. That if your film is below a certain percentage quality-wise, you're not allowed to use certain songs.
Well, here's the thing. I thought that the song implied a period setting. Like, okay, they're grounding it in the 90s or something.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure it's only used because the opening line is, "The world is a vampire-scented drain."
Yeah, it's probably that, isn't it?
Which ties in with the kid's tirade. So I wrote the tirade down. What you are is a neo-imperialist enforcer from halfway around the world, sent here to strip mine our sacred lands, pollute our water, oppress our heritage, and make us wait in lines all day.
Okay.
So the Wakanda thing does seem to be a trend now. Ethnically diverse, culturally specific.
The thing with Wakanda,
though
though,
not in this case.
The thing with Wakanda was that it was doing better than most countries.
Yes.
It's completely isolated from the rest of the world. Everyone has a quality way of life.
Yeah.
There's no worry about like poverty or underclass or anything like that.
No, the thing
they Wakanda has done brilliantly for itself.
Yeah, no,
and this is just a shithole.
Yeah, but the central dilemma in Black Panther with Wakanda was they're not helping all the other black people in the world. In like the ghetto who are suffering. Like, they're isolationists, so no one knows about them. They're keeping everything to themselves. Yes. Same sort of thing. Whereas this is, yes, it's a place that should be Wakanda, that the white man is stripped of it. And the only reason I think South Africa is apartheid and all that, and also that the mercenaries sounded vaguely South African.
Okay.
Or, yeah,
I thought they were Australian.
Well, I thought they were Australian as well, but then I thought, well, where is this meant to be?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of nowhere. Kind of Middle Easty, kind of Greece.
Yeah.
So yeah, ethnically diverse, culturally specific. Though again, not that culturally specific in this case. And wholly didactic. It's definitely a trend of like, oh, it's this kingdom filled with brown people and there's superpowers.
Yeah.
But someone's exploiting it. Something like that. So the slow motion sequence to paint it black.
Is that better or worse than the Rasputin sequence in Doctor Who?
That's what I was alluding to. That a slow motion action sequence played out to a classic rock song with some vague lyrical connection to what's going on has been done.
Yeah.
We don't need any more of that.
No.
It's over. Guardians did it. Thor's done it.
It really felt, and I don't know whether this is just a symptom of, I don't even watch as many films as you, but a symptom of like the amount of films that I've watched.
Yeah.
It felt antiquated. So much about this film felt antiquated.
Yeah. Like they're 5 years behind.
Yeah. Well, obviously the choice of music, but just like, this felt like The Rock from the period of his career where he was doing like Tooth Fairy.
Well, we'll come back to that as well.
Yeah.
So there was also the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly reference, which reminded me of Logan with Shane. You know, in Logan, they're watching the film Shane. But instead of like a meaningful thematic overlap, and with a film that much of its audience wouldn't know, crucially. Like, a lot of people seeing Logan wouldn't know Shane.
No.
So rather than that meaningful thematic similarity, this is just that bit from the film.
Yeah.
That they're doing.
Is that cultural appropriation?
Cultural appropriation.
Yeah, would you say that like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is a white person film?
It's not meant to work the other way around, is it? I mean,
no, I know it's not supposed to, but is it?
It's literally cultural appropriation,
Yeah.
and they've just taken a film and used the thing from it.
Yeah.
And it rings hollow anyway, because there's no threat or tension.
No.
Because when he's going for it, it's like, well, if they shoot at you, nothing's going to happen. And The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, it's tense because if they get
anyone
shot,
could
people
die. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's on the TV, and then we'll do a pastiche to that for no reason whatsoever. It's not like The Good, the Bad, the Ugly has thematic connections with.
Is this supposed? Is this supposed to be like, oh, this is like the old frontier, where we're like, I think we're coming in to like sort you out.
I think it's just meant to be a joke, and like because he's unfamiliar with the world. It's like that's how he's understanding it, because he sees the film and then he's like, okay, I'll apply that to this actual gunfight. That's what it's meant to be. And for especially for the adults in the audience to go, it's the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Oh, I'd much rather be watching that.
Yeah. Justice Society?
Don't. Don't. Firstly, I thought Amanda Waller only dealt with villains, and now she's she's forming superhero teams as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, who are the Justice Society? Where did they come from? How long have they been around? Superman, I don't know when he came to Earth, but he revealed himself to us in 2013?
Yeah.
And that was big news. It was a novelty. There is a man with superhuman powers on planet Earth. What the fuck?
Yeah. It's the Marvel thing, though.
And now we've got Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate, who's been alive for more than 100 years, and he's got pre-existing relationships with all these superhero characters that go back decades. It's where the fuck have you been? Where did you go? What?
Never mind.
When is this set? What's happening?
Yeah. All that aside, Justice League, Justice Society, couldn't come up with I'm sure that's what it is in the comic, that's why, but really?
Yeah.
You can't come up with something a bit different? Freedom Society, or Liberation.
I mean, if they were happy enough not using Black Adam for the entire film.
Oh, that thing at the end. The Avengers thing. Yeah. Which so many things have done.
What should we call you?
Yeah, they did a Fantastic Four, didn't they? Yeah. That guy's come up with it. Oh my god, and just that look, and you meant to go, ooh.
But I am wondering, was that deliberate? Because they don't say Black Adam once throughout the entire film. No. The only Black Adam is the title card.
Yeah.
Do you think that was deliberate? Do you think that was because they didn't know whether they were whether it was okay?
No, I think it's just because why would he be called the character that is the god or whatever? Why would he be called Black Adam?
Yeah.
And so they update his name at the end. But why it would be that, I don't know. Why is it that?
Black Adam.
Yeah.
Because he wears black.
Why Adam?
Well, his character is Teth Adam or Tate Adam.
Oh, is that right? So Black. Okay.
It's just Black Adam. He's not black though, is he? The Rock.
No, he's not.
Well, that's why. This is the thing. This is why I was like, oh, is it okay? Because generally speaking, it's not okay in Hollywood. It's occasionally frowned upon for you to play a part which you don't match demographically.
Not if you are a minority.
Okay.
I think sometimes it can, but he's Hawaiian, right? Or Samoan.
Samoan,
Samoan, something like that. And that skin tone could be Middle Eastern.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And I don't have a problem then like that. Cliff Curtis, we've said before, he's a Maori. He's played Maori, he's played Hispanic, he's played Middle Eastern, Punjabi. Fine, because that skin tone kind of works for, and he's got a big nose. It kind of works for a variety of ethnicities.
Yeah.
And Dwayne Johnson, to be fair, looks like Polynesian or Hawaiian. He does. But he could be Middle Eastern. But no, you're right. It's just this hypocrisy of, you couldn't have Pierce Brosnan playing
Black Adam.
I don't want to be ageist, right? But isn't it a bit late for Dwayne Johnson to get his own superhero franchise?
Yeah.
It's just ignoring the fact that Fast and the Furious basically is that.
Yeah.
Fills that function. As well as every other film he's in. He's always playing a superhero.
Yeah.
It just feels like this film is the result of the fact it would feel weird if he'd never had one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's in 20 years, isn't it funny he never played a superhero? And this film is why. This is a result of that.
I don't really understand it. I don't know whether this is him or whether this is Hollywood.
Yeah.
Whether it's DC going, oh, we'll be the ones to put Dwayne Johnson in a superhero film.
Yeah.
Or whether he just went, I want to do a superhero film, and then that just fell in his lap.
Yeah. But you know what I mean, though? I just think it's just because it would be weird if Dwayne Johnson never played a superhero.
I guess, but specifically a superhero, or just put him in a film, as a villain, a one-off villain, or as a sidekick.
Well, I guess it's a bit because he's he's probably the action star.
Because he's not even a hero. Well, no, he's not even a hero. Because the whole film is supposed to be is he a villain? Is he a hero?
Yeah.
I mean, he's obviously a villain because he lets that boy live.
Yes,
but
I agree.
Yeah, but I mean, this is just the epitome of what I hate about these type of films, where it's oh, look, it's a film about the supervillain, and then it's just not.
There's so much I hate about it, the Shazamness of it, the also a kid that's trying to convince him.
Oh yeah,
and then the guy that's part of the crew that's fat and drives the minivan. I'm just gonna stay here, guys.
Yeah,
there's always one.
Yeah. He's that, and they didn't even bother killing him. They went to kill him, and then they were leave him alive.
Yeah.
Do you think it was a mistake them releasing Shazam before they did this?
In what way?
I'm not familiar with DC Comics. I don't read DC Comics. So my first exposure to the character Shazam was the film. Yeah. It came out however many years ago it was.
Yeah.
That overtly comedic take on that character. So that's my experience of Shazam. It's a funny superhero. It's like it's not cheap looking, but it's got that kind of like almost.
Well, it's called Shazam, and you can't get away with that earnestly.
Yeah, it's like cheesy and like it knows it's cheesy,
self-conscious. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So for us to have this like uber serious version of that, where The Rock is like constantly like grimacing and like major dramatic beats revolve around him going Shazam. It just feels really silly, and the film never acknowledges how silly it is.
And I'm just I'm sick of, because this has mainly had negative reviews, but even the negative reviews are like, okay, so on the good side, it's ethnically diverse. On the bad side, blah blah blah. That's not enough. I think it's not an ameliorating factor in any way whatsoever. No. I know we particularly don't care about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. You go, okay, well at least it looks good, which would be a thing. That's not in that camp. This isn't one of those. You can't get away with it.
No,
because it's ethnically diverse.
I would go as far as to say that I think we're at the point now where we don't need. In the beginning, I could see how you would be like, oh, it's a good thing.
Yes.
That this has an ethnically diverse cast.
Yeah.
Because you want that to keep happening.
Yeah.
So even though the film is shit and we should throw the rest of it out, I like the fact that there's a diverse cast. Please keep doing that. I would say we're at the point now where Hollywood doesn't need prompting anymore.
No.
It knows diverse casts are a good thing. It's going to keep putting them in stuff. So now there's no need to be like, oh, but on the plus side, there's a diverse cast.
Yeah.
No, now we just need to focus on making the films that have diverse casts good.
Yeah.
You've got it.
Yeah.
Now let's work on refining it.
Yeah.
Don't just give it, like, unconditional praise.
Because they're shit as well.
Yeah.
Is the fact of the matter. Like, not the films are, but the cast. I'm not saying, but again, like the Sash Tower, not because they're ethnically diverse.
No. Well, like, even
but Pierce Brosnan
wasn't like...
No, even Pierce Brosnan, they're all rubbish.
Yeah.
They're all rubbish. So why is that a thing? It's not enough. It's nothing. It's a non-factor.
Yeah. I know that, like, superheroes, there's so many superheroes. There's going to be some, like, crossover with abilities or costume or whatever. But that, like, Atom Breaker, whatever he was called... You know the one I'm on about, right? The one that, like, grows big?
Yeah.
He really looked like Deadpool.
Oh, yeah.
Like, his face, it was exactly like Deadpool. I know that, like, the colour scheme was different on the outfit, but I was just looking at him going, that's Deadpool.
Yes.
It looks exactly like him, and it's animated exactly like him, and that character kind of felt like him without the fourth wall breaking stuff.
Smarmy. Yeah, I just, I was so bored watching it. There's one of those things, like, when you're in the final fight sequence, final fight bit.
Yeah.
I was like putting myself in the shoes of the actors and thinking, God, if I'd had to keep filming this, and it made me feel like it gave me a dread. Like, Jesus, can you imagine if you had to just keep making this film?
Yeah. Just how disposable they all feel as well. Just like, Pierce Brosnan's in this, plays like this guy who's got reality powers.
I don't know.
He can make gold shimmers appear, and he can see the future.
Something like that.
Yeah. And he can go invisible and warp reality and do all this other bullshit. And, like, he comes face to face with a demon who can breathe fire, and I think that's it. And the demon is like, you are no match for me. And he's like, yeah, I'm not. It's like, well, you just, like...
Well, he Obi-Wans himself, doesn't he?
He Obi-Wans himself, because he's like, oh, yeah, only Black Adam. Like, Superman, no match for you. Black Adam's the guy that we need. Like, really, in that situation where Black Adam is, like, trapped in that facility, it would be less convenient to call Superman. Is that what you're telling me? Yeah. But it's just how shit, like, the new characters feel as well. Like, here's this Dr. Fate guy who's this uber-powerful being that can do all this crazy shit. He's no match for the fire demon.
Do you know what? I just think we're done with it. I think, like, even as someone that never had much patience for it, at least, like, with She-Hulk and all these new characters... It's the same kind of thing, but different configurations. So, like, okay, Hulk, blah, blah, Thor story. But I kind of know those characters. This, like, I've got to get to know all these new people. I'm like, I just don't have time for it. I don't have the space in my head to integrate all these characters now. So I watched, as did you, a pirate copy of the film. Now, it was a silent theatre in the copy I saw.
I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. It was a silent theatre until Superman showed up.
Yeah.
And they cheered.
Yeah.
So there were no signs, audible signs of any approval, any way whatsoever throughout the entire film. But they'll take that breadcrumb that Superman's in it. Like, put aside my spiel about the infantilization of consumers, right? They'll take it and they'll be happy about it.
Yeah.
Our expectations are so low, and our culture is so fucked. It's like, yeah, no laughing at any of the jokes, no applauding, which I hate anyway, but but then Superman comes up the side like, woo!
Yeah.
Like, I would have guessed that you would just hated that film. And heroes, it's like they'll take anything.
Yeah.
They'll just take the shit that's spoon-fed into their mouths. So that's my view of Black Adam. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say as well, I hate these supervillain films that don't treat the villains like villains, because there's so many of them now.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was watching this, and like, there's supposed to be this like central ambiguity around that character, so like whether he's a villain or a hero. And there's like, and obviously you've got like the Justice League, which are an overtly heroic team that are presented as antagonistic because the people of Kratoa, what was it?
Oh, I don't know.
Kashmir?
Where? What?
The place. You read it out at the beginning of this review.
Oh, Kondak.
Right.
That was the place, was it?
Was it?
I don't know. I think so.
I know Eternium was the element.
Yes. I think it was Kondak. Yeah.
Okay, Kondak, the people of Kondak don't like the superhero team.
No.
They're like Black Adam.
Yeah, because he liberates them.
He kills the people that are like oppressing them.
Yes.
And the heroes are like, no, they should go to trial.
Yeah.
And the Kondak people are like, fuck you, murder's good. But there's like a whole conversation in it that the film just blatantly like skirts over, because they like, I don't know who says it and who they're saying it to, but they say like, you're still chuckling. Why are you still chuckling?
There's you with the fist going, fuck you, murder's good. Yeah.
But yeah, they say like, you know, we've been oppressed and enslaved for generations. Superman never showed up, Batman never showed up, Aquaman never showed up.
Well, they're white, aren't they? Well, Aquaman's not.
No.
Yeah.
And Batman's rich, so what does he care?
Yeah, exactly.
He's profiting off all of this anyway.
Superman's
probably.
a globalist.
But that's the thing. Like, why did they never show up?
Yeah.
There is actually a conversation to be had there about, like...
Are you saying they're, like, racist? Or
not necessarily that, whether it's, like, a race thing, but, like, what is the jurisdiction of a superhero? And what is and what constitutes a person needing saving? Like, yes, people who are being enslaved and having their lands strip mined could probably do with someone helping them out. But, like, as the film presents it, this is what Kandak has been like for generations and generations. This is how that country operates.
Yeah.
So if Superman were to come in and get rid of all of the people that are doing the strip mining and the oppressing and being like, hey, Kandak, you're now a democracy. Is he saving them, or is he like imposing a way of life on them that like he has no right to? Hi, this is Jordan speaking to you from the editing bay. Apologies for interrupting the episode. At this point, something happened to Sam's audio. We don't quite know what, but this like low hum just accompanied all of his audio. So there was nothing I could do about it in post, unfortunately. So for the next 5 minutes, I've just removed Sam's audio. You can still hear him fine, it's just not a direct feed. So he sounds a bit quieter and a bit more distant than I do, but he's still very much present in the recording. Also, thankfully, we noticed the problem fairly quickly during the recording session, so it's only for the next 5 minutes. After that, we've got Sam's clean direct feed back. So this is just sort of an acknowledgement, because it would feel weird not acknowledging 5 minutes of the episode that sounds completely different to everything else, but it is only for the next 5 minutes, so apologies for that. I'll leave you to it.
I think I told you I've been watching old Bill Maher.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm in the... they're in Iraq. They've just gone into Iraq phase of history.
Okay.
So there's a lot of talk about, can you force democracy on people that don't want democracy?
Yeah.
No, yeah, I think the thing with Watchmen is the Superman's real and he is American.
Yeah.
There is like an adult superhero thing to be done about, you know, can they go anywhere? Are they violating, when he flies to Russia to do something, is he violating like boundaries? And yeah, I'm sure there are plenty of things that have done that, where it's like, obviously the government is after the superhero because they don't work for the government and they're a threat to global order and all that kind of thing. But usually the superhero is meant to be above all that stuff, right? Like, except Superman was meant to be, what was it? He protects something the American way, or truth, freedom, in the American way.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Truth, justice.
Truth, justice, the American way.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stuff, and then they deconstructed that in Watchmen. They have a Superman working for them, so he just in Vietnam he just fucking obliterates the enemy. And
yeah,
and there's a good thing to be done about that. This isn't the forum because it's like a dumb.
But why isn't it?
Well, I just think it's too. It might be too complicated.
If DC is like positioning itself as it kind of has in the past as the anti-Marvel,
the darker.
why is this not the correct forum for that discussion?
No, fair enough.
Why is this just another generic, mindless, head-thumpingly dull superhero film?
Because I say that, I think there is genuinely something interesting to be done about that. But equally, if there was a film about, he's a white savior, it would annoy me.
It would annoy me, but not even. It doesn't even have to be. I mean, maybe like there's no way of getting away from it.
Yeah.
And maybe if you're going to do that film well, you have to bring up race. But yeah, just that idea of like, what is Superman's jurisdiction? Do the Kandak people even register as people that need saving? Because this has been their entire history. Should we impose a democracy on them? Should they inherit the system of government from the country surrounding them? Like, how do we save them?
And there's something like a superhero goes abroad and does something that has unforeseen consequences, like geopolitically.
Yeah. And even if Superman doesn't deal with the consequences of that, just like the governments of the world having to.
That they're a menace,
Yeah.
Like, executed badly. The idea in Batman v Superman, that the people on the ground, as the buildings are crumbling.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said for, like, the government's like, right, this is opposition, you can't do this. And Superman's like, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
It's the right thing. I'm above all your petty politics. Does that then elevate superheroes to, like, a master race class that are like, that don't care about what we want, and it alienates us? There's a whole thing to be done about that.
You could even like somehow you could sort of tie in the Amanda Waller thing, where she kind of goes, the reason that I have supervillain teams is because it's just easier than dealing with heroes.
Yeah,
because
superheroes don't know their place.
Superheroes don't know their place. Villains do.
Those are under my thumb.
And we have plausible deniability if they ever fuck it up. They're never going to look for us.
Blow them up.
Detonate
them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's something to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the next Suicide Squad film should be they have to go take down a superhero.
Yeah.
Rather than like a Central American country.
Yeah. Say it's Black Adam. Like, Black Adam is like, it's bad press for us.
Yeah.
We want to go into Kandak and we want to impose democracy, but he's never going to allow it.
Yeah.
You are, unofficially and off the radar, you're going to go in and kill him for America.
Or a false flag operation. Like, we need you to kill Superman and make it look like blah blah did it.
Yeah.
There's stuff to be done there. They won't.
No, they won't. They'll just fucking make Black Adam 2 and Black Adam 3.
Black Adam.
And Black Adama. This time it's Blacker. I don't know. This time it's Black Adam, but it was Black Adam before. My brain couldn't even work properly then. No, it's awful and shit, and it's horrible, and I hate you for making me watch it.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't make you. Suggested it.
Yeah, you suggested it.
Yeah.
And I hate you for that.
Well, let's move on to greener pastures.
Okay.
The Banshees of Inisherin.
See, I like you for making me watch this.
Yes.
Why couldn't you just make me watch this twice?
I'm glad you did that, though. I'm glad it wasn't some bullshit about, like, I'm glad I watched it. Because it was also my suggestion to watch Banshees.
Yes.
So I'm glad that you're at least giving me the credit.
No, I'm making sure you get the credit you deserve.
Good and bad.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good, isn't it? Quickly do the plot. So it's set on a remote Irish island off the coast of Ireland.
Yes.
In the 1920s, during the Irish Civil War. So war was kind of broken out on the mainland. And it's about these two lifelong best friends, Porrig and Callum, played by Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson respectively. And one day, Brendan Gleeson's character wants nothing to do with Colin Farrell's character, with Porrig. They go to the pub every day. He's like, leave me alone. I don't want you to talk to me anymore, etc. So Porrig's confused, and he keeps trying to break the ice and figure out what's going on.
I'm chuckling because I'm just remembering the film as you're describing it. Which is a good sign, right? Where you're just explaining what happens and I'm chuckling along.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh yeah, that I remember how that all played out.
And so there's this enigmatic kind of frostiness, and then it builds to a point where Colm says to Porrig, if you talk to me again, I'll cut off one of my fingers. And it all escalates from there. So we should say spoilers.
Yes. The experience of this film, I don't want to spoil it.
No. So seriously, don't listen to this if you haven't seen the film.
And it's one of those films as well where just watching it, it's not really clear where it's going or where it's supposed to go.
It really isn't. It's truly original.
Yeah.
So this is a rare film where I think the most conversation you can have about it is what it meant. And that's an uncommon, wonderful treat, I think.
And not in a abstract...
Not a wanky way.
What the fuck was all that about then?
No,
like
not
with
like
Mad
David
God.
Lynch. Or with Mad God.
Yeah, where it's like, right, that probably meant something to someone.
Yeah, but not
I
to me.
just don't know what it means objectively.
No, it's...
This is not one of those films. It's just like, it's one of those things where...
It's layered and thematic.
Yeah, exactly.
So before we get to the meaning, let's break down the constituent elements. So the cinematography is gorgeous.
Yes. They had a good location.
I know.
But they still shot it well. Yeah.
And solid, no frills direction.
Yes.
It's just shot.
Yeah.
There's no like, oh, it's clearly a Martin McDonagh film, you know.
Yeah.
So Martin McDonagh wrote and directed it. I think we
Yes. What else has he done, Sam?
he did In Bruges,
Oh, okay.
which obviously was Gleeson and Farrell. They
Yeah.
did Seven Psychopaths. And then Three Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. So this is his fourth feature film.
It's a playwright originally, isn't he?
He is a playwright originally.
Yeah. One of the best of his generation, what I hear.
Apparently, he's an English playwright, obviously with Irish ancestry, but a lot of his plays are set in Ireland or deal with Irish history or, like Lieutenant of Inishrin and that kind of thing. The supporting cast is terrific.
Yes.
I would say particularly Kerry Condon, who plays Porrig's sister. Kagan was great too.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with the reception for this, so I don't know who's getting recognition for what.
Yeah.
Is Kerry Condon getting the recognition she deserves? Or is focus being shifted more towards Keegan? Or Kagan, sorry.
Yeah, I suppose I've heard more people talk about Kagan a bit, but it's a showier performance.
But that's the point. It's not a showy performance from her. She has her moments.
Yeah. Well, we're kind of pre-awards season, really. Like we're in the part of the year where all the things are coming out, so everyone's being talked about to some extent. You know, the film certainly, the screenplay definitely. Farrell, Gleeson, all the cast are being talked about, and Kagan was great. All I can say negatively, in a way, and not for the film itself, is it worries me about his portrayal of Joker, if that's still happening. Because it really works in this, and I worry it could go the direction of Sacha Dhawan if it's Joker.
Yeah.
You know, the manic laughter.
Yeah, pushing it too far. Yeah.
He also has my favourite line of the film, which is fucking heartbreaking.
That's not the line.
No, that's not the line. He hits on Carrie Condon. He's kind of in love with Carrie Condon's character. And he says, would you ever go out with someone like me? And she's like, no. Nicely, but no. He's like, okay. There goes that dream then. It's just fucking horrible.
That's the thing.
But I love it.
I was surprised
in
the pre-release of this film, because this film seems to be doing the mainstream circuit.
Very strange.
In terms of it's doing Graham Norton, it's doing all the American chat shows. It even had its own Sky Cinema / E Entertainment little 10-minute hype show that they released before the thing. The type of thing you typically see for Black Adam. It's we sat down with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to talk about the new film Black Adam.
It's great as well.
And it had one of those, and it's just Colin Farrell and Brendan Gleeson talking about it's about grief and heartbreak, and it's so the way that McDonagh writes it's so magical. We sat down with McDonagh.
So if you put a clip from the film, Black Adam's and now for a special sneak peek at the movie.
Yeah.
And now for a special sneak peek of the movie. You're right there, lad.
It's just 30 seconds of silence and then...
I don't like you no more.
But that's the thing, because it was billed... It seemed to be billed as a comedy.
Yeah. I showed my father the trailer yesterday and he laughed throughout the trailer.
Yeah.
So it's,
Yeah, it's the point where my mother and my sister were interested in going to see the film.
Yeah.
And I was just worried. Thankfully, they ended up enjoying it. But I was just worried that it would be kind of like a Drive situation where it's a good film, but people were almost missold on what to expect. So they would go in and watch it and go, "Oh, that was fucking shit. That wasn't what I wanted at all."
You kind of got the studio is, and you can't blame them. It's it's their doing, but you understand what how do we sell this?
I get it, but it was worrying at first.
Yeah, no,
I do think the film spends enough time sort of teetering towards comedy.
Well, it is funny
that it's pulled you in enough.
Well, yeah, and it is funny.
It is genuinely
funny. For all
funny.
of the stuff, the deep things that we can say about it, it's very funny.
It's genuinely funny, and those first there's half an hour or however long it is where it's it feels like a comedy.
Yeah,
and then there's a moment where Colin Farrell gets punched in the face.
Yes.
And that marks almost like a tonal shift the other way.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, wait, like the comedy's still there, but now the dark shit's going to start happening.
It's kind of in Bruges when he talks about killing the kid.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like, oh, this film is getting dark now.
Getting dark.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the central duo. So Colin Farrell, I may have said it on the podcast, is a very underrated actor, I think. And he speaks so, like, thoughtfully and beautifully about the films he's in. Like, really intelligently about the films he's in. Colin Farrell's Porrig is incredibly sympathetic.
Yes.
I really related to him for personal reasons, but it's very much his film, isn't it?
Again, another surprise. It's
Yeah.
not the story of two friends. It's Colin Farrell's film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a sense, I would say Gleeson is the weakest in the ensemble, but purely by dint of him being icy and remote and unlikable a lot of the time. So the film goes into why is he treating him like this? And that character is obviously, he's arrived at a point in his life where he realizes, I've got maybe 20 years left. I don't want to witter away every day, like listening to your dull stories, and I just want to compose music and be on my own and like fuck off, basically. It's kind of like an existential crisis. And that despair offers a bit of an olive branch to the viewer. Like, okay, I understand how you could get in that mindset. But I never lost sight of how misguided he was and how cruel he was being as well.
No, that's the thing. Like, Paul Rick's absolutely got a point when he's like calling him out on his bullshit, where he's like, you would rather share a pint with this guy who beats his child than me. And then that moment where that guy, like, that's the guy earlier in the film that knocks out Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
And Gleeson, because they are still... Because he doesn't hate him.
No, he just doesn't want to have anything to do with him.
He doesn't want to have anything to do with him. But he's not like, you know, it's not like he treats him like shit now. Because after seeing that, he sort of like helps Paul Rick up on his... Am I saying it right, Paul Rick?
I think it's Porrig, yeah.
Yeah, Paul Rick.
Yeah.
Helping him on his little cart, and he sort of like takes him back to his side of the island because he's completely disorientated. But they don't chat during that drive. And I said to you, like, surely when you're in a circumstance where you've got nothing better to do than to chat, he can go, all right, I'll chat with you.
You know what?
And yet he doesn't. Like, you do feel like that character is just like completely mishandling. And not the film, the character.
The character,
is mishandling
at the Venice Film Festival, I hear Gleeson talking about, like, oh, you know, I've had breakups in the past, like romantic breakups.
Yeah.
And it's hard because you still, like the person, you still have fond feelings for the person, so you don't want to be cold to them. But then that may be like, that's interpreted as you still having feelings.
Yes.
It's kind of difficult. It's like, in a way, and like I said, there's like, you take what you want from this film, like you put your own thing into it. But it does feel like it's something that you'd resent, and certainly something I've resented. But it kind of makes sense as well, in that like a goodbye is a breadcrumb. If someone's like, oh yeah, like really goodbye, you're like, oh, they still like have, there are still feelings there, whatever. And that's the thing, of course, that Callum is entitled to his peace if he wants it, but nonetheless, it's that self-regard of vanity and depression. When Farrell says, can he not just keep it to himself? It's funny, obviously, and it points to that character's like simplicity. Yeah. But he's kind of on the money. Yeah. It is like you're bringing you're affecting the world with your, you know, I think Kermode said, like, turning your back, doing the cardinal sin, turning your back on nice. Because, you know, you've realised the time is finite. And also Colm's spiel about Mozart, and it's in the trailer, you know, who remembers anyone for being nice? No one, you know, but we all remember Mozart's music. In any other film, that would be a righteous justification for his behaviour. You go, oh yes, he's the tortured artist, and this is what artists must do. Yeah. Here it comes across as pretentious, insincere, and is correctly shot down by Porrig's sister. Yeah, so like Colm's aloofness and appeal to greatness rings hollow. But again, in the way I think the film wants it to. Yeah. It's a critique of that. I did, however, relate to his sense, especially as a writer, of the dread of wasting time. Yes. It's like, I'm running out of time. Like, when can I finish this thing? Yeah. There are laugh-out moments all the way through. One of the best line, other than that bleak line from Kagan. So Colin Farrell, he has a donkey. He always has animals in the house. And it's just like, fucking put the animals outside. That's the thing when Gleeson kicks off. She's like, put the donkey outside. Like, I'm not putting the donkey outside when I'm sad. That's so great.
No, that's the thing. It is genuinely like... Yeah. It's like darkly comedic.
Yeah.
Obviously because of the subject that it's dealing with. But yeah, it is just like, it's not afraid of having like a comedic bantery scene.
Yeah, in a moment as well, it turns. Like, I forgot, because we went to see it in the cinema, and I forgot until I rewatched the trailer. With the scene when he's drunk and talking to Callum, and Callum says the thing about Mozart, and he goes, but everyone's heard of Mozart, and he goes, well, I haven't, so that shoots that theory out the way. Yeah. That's funny, but that's like hot on the heels of, talking to me now, are you?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Jesus, like, it really knows how to play with the tone. Yeah, I like the Gleeson wasn't a total bastard to him. Like, he seemed remorseful at points. And I thought it was interesting because when we watched it, there were moments where you tittered. And I just took it at face value, like, heartbreakingly sad. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, is he in comedy mode? And so... But then when we left, you said, oh, no, I felt that as well. It was, like, uncomfortable. Yeah. It was discomfort, like, when he just starts crying.
That's the thing. When Brendan Gleeson is bringing him home on the horse cart. Yeah. And Colin Farrell's sort of like his faculties are returning. Yeah. And he sees his best friend giving him a ride home and he knows he can't speak to him. He just breaks down. Yeah. And it's horrible. Yeah. And I think that's why I ended up laughing. Yeah. It's just like, I don't know.
Push it away.
Yeah, I have to reject the horrible feelings that I feel. I don't know if this is just me. I think it's absolutely right to say that this is a film about a breakup. Even though this is two best friends, I feel like calling it a film that charts a breakup is like, that's the kind of the key, I suppose. The key to cracking the code. Yeah. The key to kind of like understanding this film is it's a story about a breakup, but with two best friends. Yeah. Rather than it being a couple.
Yeah, I think that's the through line. Is okay, if you're not tapping into any of the other things that are going on, the way you understand it, it's a breakup movie. Like, that's the most surface. Yeah, the most surface is what's happening, like exactly. Friends. But yeah, the easiest thing to say, it's like when your girlfriend breaks up with you.
Yeah, well, it gives the scenes make sense. They make more sense.
And it does follow...
When you look at it through that prism.
Yeah, and it does follow the trajectory.
Yes.
Of it, in the sense of, like, it's denial and trying to figure out why you aren't talking to me. Yeah. And then, maybe she wants me to be a dick. Okay, I'll start acting like a dick.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
The film is about the end of a relationship.
But I would say, for me... It's more tragic, the fact that they're friends, than if they were a couple. And I don't know what it is. It feels more horrible.
I think it's because it feels more arbitrary. Like, love is a very delicate concoction, and falling out of love with somebody can happen for a variety of reasons. Yeah. But it's something we all kind of universally understand, the tragedy of it. When you haven't done anything to a friend... Yeah. It's like love is so fragile that like I just don't love you anymore. It's just like I don't know what happened.
No, absolutely.
I woke up and didn't love you. But like me waking up and going, I just don't want to be friends with Jordan anymore. It'd be why? Where the hell did that come from?
Exactly. Yeah, friendship feels a lot safer, a lot tighter. Yes. You don't just stop being friends with someone. That builds up, and this didn't build up for him. As far as Colin Farrell was concerned, he just turned up to his best friend's house one day and told him to fuck off. Yeah, it's so horrible. Yeah,
it's about the end of a relationship, how that calluses people, and like trying out being nasty. But I like that Porrig is so fundamentally decent; he's incapable of maintaining the facade.
Just the way he's written, I love the way that character's written.
Fantastic, because like, simple but not.
That's the
idiot.
thing. Yeah. Like Gleeson insults him at one point, casually insults him by calling him a limited man. Yeah, but he is right. Colin Farrell. There are limitations to what Colin Farrell can understand or say or do. Like that character isn't. He's not an uber intelligent character, but he's not an idiot. He's not
he's
like
limited.
An idiot.
He's limited.
Yeah, he doesn't feel like a stupid character, and yet he doesn't also feel like he's this kind of authorial stand-in character.
Yes. No, he's just a nice guy, a nice simple guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it feels so authentic.
That really doesn't want much out, like he wants his mate. That's really all he wants out of life, Yeah. I like that there are characters that are pining, and like, some people that want to leave, and I want to see the city, and Kagan's in love with Carrie Condon, all this stuff. I love that Colin Farrell, like, his bachelorhood is never really brought up. You could just kind of, like, take it as, he just doesn't want that.
He's found his place in life.
He's got his mate.
Yeah. He's got his pony, and he's got his best friend, and he's got his sister. And the film takes everything away from him.
I think it had to be set in the conditions it was.
Absolutely.
Like, I kept thinking that it would be impossible in a modern day or a city. But it might actually even be worse in a modern context, because when you're blocked in 2022, you are truly blocked. There's no bumping into if they don't want to. You know what I mean? There was a novelty in people having to avoid each other in impossible circumstances, and people just sitting in a pub.
Yes.
Just doing nothing. Just drinking for hours.
Again, the fucking hypocrisy of that. Where Callum's like, oh, I'm just wasting time talking to you. And he's still in the pub every night.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, it's also about art itself and the selfishness of that, whether anguish is necessary. You know, the literal self-destruction of him cutting his own fingers off.
Yeah.
The whole thing has biblical or fairy tale overtones. The feeling of like an allegory or a parable. Especially with that self-mutilation and the donkey. I didn't expect a clear-cut answer in a Martin McDonagh film, and I'm glad there wasn't one. There was just this creeping despair. But I liked its crypticism. But like you said earlier, it's neither deliberately confounding nor impenetrable. You just leave with some things to figure out.
Yeah.
There are elements that complicate your impression of what's happening. That central through line of, oh, it's about a breakup. There's the supernatural dimension to it.
The kind of supernatural dimension where there could also equally not be a supernatural dimension.
Yeah, like the meaning of the Banshees of Inisherin, which is the film's authorial moments. Like, I like the sound of the the Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah.
And tying into the theme of shut the fuck up.
I think even Colin Farrell says plenty of SH on Inisherin.
Yeah. It's great, you know. And so this idea that Callum has this idea that the Banshees, you know, they used to wail for people and cry for people, and now they just sit and watch.
Amused.
And there's this character in the film that's essentially death, this old woman. Yeah, there's a lingering sense that something is happening above. The film begins and ends in the clouds, doesn't it?
Yeah, literally looking down on the entire island. It's so high up that you could see the clouds hanging over that island as well, like a UFO almost.
Like Nope. Yeah. At the end, when all the animals are in Porrig's house, so this is when he's lost his sister, he's lost everything, crying for her to come back.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Please come back, someone. It alludes both to his sadness, obviously, because, you know, the donkey's not going outside when I'm sad.
Yeah.
But the thing I thought, and we talked about this, there's that quote, if you lie down with dogs, you get up with fleas. And this idea that Porrig's been corrupted, but like his niceness has been corrupted by or compromised at least by the events of the film.
I think the mirror strengthens that theory as well when he smashes that. Proper jump scare for everyone in the cinema.
It was,
yeah.
Jesus, I spoke.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw an interview with McDonagh where he talked about the finger cutting construct not being planned, and that's fucking ridiculous.
He's a liar. They're all liars. Him, Vince Gilligan, Peter Gould, they're all fucking liars.
I know. He just wrote the scene in the pub and it came out.
No.
It's just like that.
No, he didn't. He planned it for years. It's the only way it can be allowed.
But we talked about this, like, however far back you want to break it down, eventually that's what it's always going to be. A moment that just, he says he cuts his finger. Like, it arrives in that way, you know what I mean? Whether you're writing it or not. To me, it highlights the merits of the David Milch, the Milchian procedure of writing. That you don't have an outline, you just write and you see what happens. And I think you can feel that in the film too. Like I said, you don't know where it's going. You have these encounters between the men in the day, and then the nights to reflect on what's happening.
Yeah.
And the next day could bring anything, you know? And you feel that, what's going to happen next for the whole film. The unfolding civil war happening off screen, these occasional explosions on the horizon. I would say it's the parallel, obviously, the duo's microcosmic civil war, brothers fighting, to suggest that dimension of otherness, that there's something else happening somewhere, you know, someone's watching, and as an incitement to the film's closing thought, which was pretty much my favourite part of the film. So yeah, after all this stuff has happened, so Colin Farrell's donkey Jenny has choked.
Jesus Christ.
Has choked to death on Colm's severed finger. And so Colin Farrell vows to burn down Brendan Gleeson's house.
Yeah.
With him inside it or not.
Well, he says, I won't be checking. And then when he's burning it down, he sees that Brendan Gleeson is indeed inside the house.
Yes, but then he later leaves the house.
Yeah.
And the final scene is an encounter between the two men on a beach.
Yeah.
And Colin Farrell says to Brendan Gleeson, some things you don't get past, and I think that's a good thing. It's sort of like that's the wisdom, the lesson he's learned over the course of the film. Now, you can take that to mean the suggestion of an acrimonious, eternal feud between the two men. That while there's humanity left, Porrig's been truly hardened. You can also take it to refer to the Civil War, that the differences between both sides are so great, there's no going back, and will lead to a path of mutually assured destruction. Because at the end, when they're on the beach, the fighting seems to be dying down on the mainland, as it does between the two men. But if you know anything about Irish history, you know it's going to fire up again.
Yes.
It's absurdly comic and fucking heartbreaking at the same time. Yeah, I think Colm's demeanour at the end might well suggest that he's found meaning and dark beauty. He's been entertained like he wanted, but at the cost of everything, including the ability to create art.
Yeah.
He's cut his fingers off.
Well, this is what's so great about it, is that it presents you with a moment, and you go, oh, there are multiple ways that could be interpreted.
100%.
Like, in that moment, it's like Brendan Gleeson's finally seen, like, okay, I've done some damage here. You know, Colin Farrell's reaction, it's a bad reaction. He's clearly not okay with everything that's happened.
Yeah.
I'll kind of be nice to him, because he does make idle chit-chat with him, which is the one thing that he never wanted.
Yeah.
And then when Colin Farrell leaves, Brendan Gleeson just starts kind of like humming to himself.
Yes.
On the beach. I was like, right, okay, so is that because I think he's humming the Banshees of Inisherin, which is the song he's been composing throughout the film. Yeah. Is that him finally getting what he wants, in the sense that he's been left alone with his music? And so he's kind of reveling in the fact that he's been left alone with his music? Or is that a tragic moment because he's got that silence that he's been seeking for the entire film, and he's now desperately trying to fill that silence?
I think it's...
by humming, you know.
I think it's both. I think it's a reflection that he has been entertained, and so he's like humming merrily away, but he can't play it.
Yeah.
You can only hum it now.
Yeah.
You know? It's that thing, there's no glory in self-destruction of your art, that you burn everything around you for the sake of getting where you want to go, and then everything around you is burnt. You know, there's nowhere to go. The pursuit becomes meaningless, if not impossible. You know, the whole scorched earth thing.
Yeah.
But my interpretation, and this is, like you said, what I like about it, because there's so many interpretations you could have, and I'm pretty sure, like, very few people are going to have my interpretation of it.
Okay.
Like, if I said it to the director, even, it might be like, It's just what I got from it. I think it's valid. It's about carrying the meaning of a failed relationship with you. That it's a betrayal to move past it completely. You go,
when he says
some things you don't get over, and I think that's a good thing. Whether you agree with that sentiment or find it cynical, not to say unhealthy, that was my take. And the fact that afterwards, Brendan Gleeson thanks him for looking after his dog, and he says, "Oh, anytime," you know. It's like there is love lost between the two men. I can see that my relationship to the film, what I got from it, might change over time, which is another beautiful element about it. Yeah, but I think it's about that. It's about, you know what, our friendship, we were friends our whole lives. I'm not just going to get over it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get past it, and that's fine, because it meant something. So that's what I took from it.
Yeah.
It's one of those rare films that percolates and improves in your mind the more distance you have from it, I think. And I would say In Bruges is more entertaining, more outward, more obviously entertaining. But this is a superior film.
Yes.
I think it's McDonagh's best, and it's the best film of the year.
Bold statement.
Yeah.
he said it, folks.
I do. I think it's the best film of the year. It just ticks all of my boxes.
It's pretty undeniable, even if it doesn't end up being my best film of the year. Like, it's a solid outing, you know? Yeah,
and we talked before, didn't we, about, like, it has an archetypal, as original as it is, has an archetypal, allegorical feeling to it. But when you watch it, you go, why did it take so long for this film to exist?
If Martin McDonagh had said, this is based on, like, a 12th century Irish folktale, I'd absolutely believe him.
100%.
It does. It just has a timeless quality about it. Not just because of, like, when it was set.
Yeah.
Where it was set.
The themes and the...
Yeah, just everything about it feels so... Yeah, it's like a Bible story, almost.
Yeah, it's like it took us this long... It took culture this long to produce this film. It's kind of amazing. Yeah, I loved it. I really loved it.
Yeah, it was a good one. Go watch it.
Yeah, watch it.
And if you saw it already, watch it again.
Yeah, you've seen it twice, you lucky bastard.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah, it was, good.
Yeah.
Good, no. Hopefully good.
Yeah.
Haven't seen some of them.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Bad.
Great.
In summary.
Yeah.
That's been a mixed bag, yeah.
It's been alright. Yeah. Some of it.
Okay. I think that's everything, isn't it?
That's what I got, yeah.
Alright. Then we will see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.